Hello, everyone. Omni-sensei here with What If I Was Sukuna's Reincarnation in DC Verse, Part 5. If you enjoy this content, please smash the like button. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to check out the original story linked in the description. I hope you enjoy listening to it.
Jason vanished from sight the moment the villains blinked. By the time they realized he'd moved, his palm was already pressed against Cheetah's face, just shy of cutting it open. A black-red tendril snapped from the ground, yanking her away in the last instant. Black Adam capitalized immediately, speeding forward with a thunderous punch aimed at Jason's head. Jason caught the punch with one hand. Effortlessly. He tilted his head toward Diana. "You take care of this guy." A single blow to Black Adam's gut turned the demigod into a projectile, slamming him straight toward Wonder Woman. Jason turned back toward the others. "Don't worry," he said, pointing lazily at Atomic Skull. "I'll deal with you in a second." His eyes shifted to Clarion. "But you? I want to know who sent you here." Atomic Skull didn't wait for permission. He lunged, radioactive fist swinging. Jason sidestepped it casually. "Dangerous to touch, huh? Doesn't matter." He snapped his fingers. Maharaga materialized behind him, its blade limb swinging in a brutal arc. The punch that followed sent Atomic Skull flying, his torso caving inward. Maharaga's hand melted slightly from the radiation, but it healed just as quickly. "Oh, so you brought friends," Clarion said with a grin. "Then I will too. Tikal, go." The small cat leapt from his arms, instantly warping into a monstrous, fanged beast. Clarion conjured a barrage of magic circles, hurling spell after spell toward Jason. Not a single one reached him. They were sliced apart midair as if the spells walked willingly into a cutting machine. Jason ignored the projectiles, his focus shifting between Tikal and the slashing attacks of Cheetah. He moved first against her, several dismantles slicing toward her body. But Clarion's magic intercepted just in time, deflecting the cuts away. The giant Tikal lunged, trying to swallow Jason whole. Jason sidestepped, planted a kick into the beast's ribs, and sent it crashing through two buildings. "I don't like hurting animals," he muttered. "But you don't count. You bastard." Clarion roared as chaos tendrils erupted from the ground, wrapping Jason from every direction, before being shredded cleanly in seconds. Clarion leapt back, dodging another invisible barrage, helping Cheetah avoid one as well. "Those curses of yours," Clarion hissed. Jason raised an eyebrow. "You can see them?" "Of course I can." Clarion snapped. "Chaos magic, cursed magic, whatever flavor you use, boy, I see it." Jason smirked and prepared the sign for his domain. "Can you se?" Clarion vanished. He blinked out of the 200-meter perimeter before the domain could even materialize. Jason's eyes narrowed. This little shit, he sensed the domain forming. Even fate can't detect cursed energy this clearly. "So you're really that good with magic, huh?" Jason said aloud. Clarion grinned. "What can I say? Always the best, always the great." He froze. Maharaga walked back toward Jason dragging Atomic Skull's legs, the only pieces left, his torso hollowed out. And Diana descended beside Jason, her sword dripping blood, Black Adam's head dangling from her hand. Jason spread his arms mockingly. "Did you seriously think this group of idiots would survive us? Me and Diana? Or did you think we'd play by the League's rules? No holding back. No mercy. I told you." His eyes hardened. "I'm the guillotine. And you're the inmates with a death sentence." Clarion's confidence shattered. He snatched Tikal, reverting her to a cat, while stammering. "Cheetah, let's." He stopped. Cheetah lay on the ground, legs severed, bleeding out. "You escaped my range," Jason said. "She didn't." Clarion trembled with rage. The gods of chaos will not forget this." "Ugh." A portal ripped open behind him, and he fled instantly. Silence fell. Jason looked at Diana. Good work. I expected you'd take longer handling him. Diana's divine aura faded, her eyes returning to normal as she slid her bracelets back into place. He was strong, but as you said, we're not holding back anymore. Good girl, Jason said with a low chuckle. He walked toward the crawling, sobbing cheetah. She tried to drag herself away, but Jason grabbed her by the hair and lifted her head. So, he said calmly. You want to sing like a bird, or screech like a crow, your choice. Cheetah shook, eyes darting around in terror before she finally gave in. What do you want to know? Jason's grip on Cheetah's hair loosened, his voice cold but steady. Who sent you here and orchestrated all this bullshit? And why? Cheetah swallowed hard, beaten and cornered, her animal bravado gone. It was Vandal Savage and Queen Bee, she said, eyes darting between Jason and Diana. They told us to stall you. Fight you. Keep you here for as long as possible. Why? Jason pressed. I'm not sure. Savage only said Joker needed time to complete something in Gotham. That we had to keep you away. Diana stepped forward, her voice sharp as steel. Why Joker? What is he planning? And why would Savage help him? Cheetah shook her head desperately. I don't know. I swear. Savage said Joker would kill many of the League. Or something like that. I don't know the details. Please, I told you everything. Jason looked at her for a long moment. Something about her trembling posture told him she wasn't lying. I believe you, he said quietly. Diana noticed it a split second before it happened, Jason's hand leaving her shoulder, the way his posture shifted as he turned away. Cheetah managed a shaky breath of relief. And then her severed head hit the ground with a wet thud. Her body collapsed beside it a fraction later. Jason didn't even turn around. Let's go, he said to Diana. The battlefield looked like the aftermath of a nuclear blast. Buildings shredded, streets cratered, fire and smoke rising into a trembling sky. And at the center of it all, drenched in blood, laughing like a deranged god. Joker. He lifted Hal Jordan's head by the hair, swinging the corpse like a macabre trophy. Oh, Hal. I always knew you were hard-headed, but this is art, he cackled. Then, with a grotesque casualness, Joker jabbed his fingers into the empty skull cavity, tugging out what remained of Jordan's intestines and threading them through the eye sockets like string. A necklace, he said with mock delight. I'll call it Lantern Chic. Doesn't it just scream, I died horribly? He wrapped the ghastly chain around his neck and posed theatrically. The sight froze every hero still conscious. Some trembled. Some vomited. Some just stared in mute horror. Superman slowly rose from a demolished taxi, dust and debris sliding off him. His breath shook with fury. Joker, he roared, voice cracking the pavement. I will kill you. Joker's head snapped toward him instantly, that painted grin stretching wider than humanly possible. Oh. He's mad. Joker clapped like a delighted child. The Boy Scout's really mad. Come on then. Come on. Show me that righteous baby rage. Superman shot forward in a crimson blur. Joker opened his arms like he was welcoming an old friend. Come come, he shrieked. Let's play some more. Clarion kicked over a chair, still shaking with frustration. That bastard, he screamed. None of my spells worked on him. That cursed magic of his, ugh. It's a damn plague. A nuisance. A disaster. Tikal whimpered in his arms, and Clarion hugged the cat dramatically. He even hurt Tikal. My poor Tikal, he cried like a spoiled child who just broke his favorite toy. Vandal Savage observed the tantrum with ancient patience, a faint curve of amusement in his expression. Calm yourself, Clarion, Vandal said in his timeless, controlled voice. We projected this possibility. Jason Anderson is unique. But you'll handle him next time, won't you? I believe you've already planned for such an outcome. Clarion's ego inflated instantly. Of course I have, he snapped. His magic is strange, ancient, cursed, wrong, but I'm the best. I'll figure out how to nullify it. Next time, I'll crush him. He kissed Tikal's forehead. Right, Tikal? We're gonna tear him apart. Queen Bee slammed her fist against the table so hard the entire room vibrated. Are you too delusional? She snapped. You're acting relaxed after that monster destroyed half our team. What happens if he comes here? Huh? I refuse to risk my kingdom's safety as long as he's free. Her voice cut through the air like a whip. Vandal remained perfectly still. You don't need to fear him showing up here, he said. Not now. Queen Bee glared daggers. And what makes you so certain? Vandal's smile widened, cold and calculated. Because by now Jason Anderson has realized what's happening in Gotham. Joker is creating chaos on a scale even the League can barely survive. While Joker destroys, we gain time. While Gotham burns, we begin our campaign. He leaned forward, voice turning darker. We will slander Jason globally. Turn nations against him. Twist his image into something the world will fear. Clarion giggled. Queen Bee frowned as dread crept across her features. Vandal continued. All of this leads to the invasion, and when Darkseid arrives, his eyes gleamed. Jason Anderson's head will be the first offering. Clarion clapped excitedly, childish and murderous. Tikal hissed approvingly. Queen Bee looked uneasy. And somewhere far away, Gotham suffered. Superman's fist cracked across Joker's jaw with enough force to uproot nearby streetlights. The villain spun through the air, slamming into the asphalt hard enough to break it open like thin ice. His spine folded at a wrong angle, one leg twisted backward, and for a few still seconds, it looked, just barely, that the nightmare had ended. Then the body twitched. A rasping laugh crawled out of his mangled throat. Gay, hee, oh ho ho. Ah, Superman. Again. Again. He stood. Bones snapping back into place, joints realigning with wet cracks, blood soaking into his pale shirt. And dangling from Joker's neck as a macabre necklace, swung Hal Jordan's severed head. Hal. Superman whispered, grief choking his voice. Joker tugged on the intestine chain like it was a child's toy. "D'you like it? I call it my lightbulb necklace. Hee hee. Green Lantern really does brighten up a room. Ha ha ha." Before Superman could react, Supergirl streaked in, fury burning in her eyes. She drove her fist into Joker's abdomen. The impact erupted like a grenade, shockwaves rippling across the ruined district. Joker gagged, spat blood, and smiled so wide his cheeks tore open. "You punch like your cousin. Little sunshine, come on. Let's see a super temper tantrum." Supergirl punched him again and again, each blow leaving craters in his body, only for the flesh to bubble and reform. Batman watched, shaken. Not by Joker, he'd seen monstrosities before. But by the panic rising in Supergirl's breathing. By how much effort she was giving. By how little difference it made. "Supergirl, fall back." Batman ordered, voice tight. "He's adapting. I'm not abandoning anyone," she shouted. Her next strike hurled Joker into a collapsed pharmacy. Glass and metal rained down. He sprang back out instantly. Standing on the rubble, Joker stretched his arms wide, intestines swinging around his neck. "I love being the center of attention." A nuclear beam blasted him from behind. Captain Atom, jaw clenched, unleashed a torrent of atomic fire that scorched half the block. The air rippled with lethal heat. Joker stood in the center of it, his body half melted, then slowly restoring. Captain Atom staggered, face pale. No, this can't be." Peekaboo. Joker appeared behind him, hands gently resting on Adam's temples. Then, crunch. Captain Adam's skull collapsed like a crushed soda can, silver and red matter exploding outward. His body hit the ground in a twitching heap. Superman felt something break inside him. Nathaniel. But there was no time to grieve. Martian Manhunter descended from above, shifting into his full armored form, eyes burning with psychic flame. "This ends now, Joker." His voice trembled, not with fear, but with anger. The kind that John rarely allowed himself to feel. Joker tilted his head. "Oh, I love your voice, Greenie. Makes me feel like I'm about to be grounded." John didn't respond verbally. He erupted forward, face shifting, claws glowing, tearing into Joker with both physical and psychic attacks. His blows carved deep gashes into Joker's flesh, wounds that for once did not immediately heal. Telepathic pressure pressed into Joker's mind like a tsunami. Batman watched, hope flickering in his eyes. "John's affecting him, keep pushing." "I'm going to end this," Martian Manhunter growled. Joker's grin twisted into something feral. Oh, yes. End it. End it. I want to see your full power, Green Man." John's claws sank deep. Joker grabbed his wrist with impossible speed. The Manhunter froze. "Let's play, pull apart the alien," Joker whispered. With a brutal wrenching motion, Joker tore John's body in two. Martian ichor drenched the ground. John's final telepathic scream echoed in every hero's mind. "I am sorry, take care of Megan." A dying whisper of failure and apology. Supergirl cried out. Batman took a step back, knees trembling. Joker dropped the two halves casually. What a rip-off finale. Ha ha ha. A red lightning streak shot forward, vibrating the air. "You monster!" Flash screamed, landing thousands of strikes in a heartbeat. Joker's skin split and tore under the barrage, chunks of flesh flying, but still he laughed, even as his jaw broke. "Oh, this tickles. Come on, Zipper Zappy." Flash spun, vibrating his arm to phase through Joker's chest. Joker simply grabbed his ankle mid-speed. The Flash's face drained of color. "Oh no. Yes, ha 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 ha. Re-yip." Flash's right leg tore free in Joker's hands. Flash screamed, collapsing into the dust, clutching the fountain of blood where his limb had been. He barely stayed conscious. "Fast food." Joker shouted, waving the detached leg like a streamer. Supergirl streaked in, scooping up the near-dead Flash. And Joker hammered his fist into her midsection. The blow sounded like a cannon. Supergirl flew across the battlefield, smashing into a steel support pillar. Her body went limp. Batman stared, breath frozen in his throat. "Kara." But Joker was already on him. He grabbed Batman by the throat, lifting him slowly. "Ah, Batsy, we've lost so many friends today, haven't we?" He, don't worry. I saved a spot right here." He tapped the intestine chain. "Just for your head." Batman dropped a smoke pellet in Joker's face and managed to stumble away, bruised ribs screaming. But he knew he wasn't outrunning the monster, only one person could still stand against him. Superman descended from above, dust swirling around his boots, fists clenched so tight the knuckles cracked. His eyes burned, not with heat vision, but with grief. Captain Adam, Martian Manhunter. HAL.so many down. So many dead. Joker licked blood off his fingers. The big blue Boy Scout returns. Ha ha ha. Round 2, Superman. Superman didn't speak. His jaw tightened. His cape fluttered in the burning wind. They charged. Their fists met. The shockwave obliterated the street. Joker laughed in Superman's face, eyes wide with unhinged delight. Superman roared in rage, pain, grief. Fist against fist. Blast against blast. Madness against hope. "Kid, this one, it's different. You can't escape it. That's for sure. Let me out there. Only I can face this one. Sukuna's voice echoed through Jason's skull. Calm, but carrying a pressure that felt like a hand around his throat. I refuse. Jason muttered, eyes fixed ahead. The world outside the cockpit blurred into streaks of gray and blue as Wonder Woman's jet tore through the clouds, pushing its engines far beyond safety. Destination, Gotham. Diana glanced his way. You said something, Jason? Not to you, he replied dryly. I'm talking to a nuisance in my mind. Diana simply nodded. Jason had layers upon layers of secrets. One more wasn't surprising. She let it go. A nuisance? Sukuna barked, outraged. You brat. I'm trying to save your life. Do you have any idea what you're flying toward? You're just trying to save your life, Jason shot back. Not mine. I'm not letting a parasite like you out. This is my body. You don't get a say. Heh, fine. Then die. You'll beg for me soon enough. You can't even sense the cursed energy that thing is unleashing right now. Demonic doesn't even begin to describe it. And exactly as Sukuna had warned. The skies above Gotham flickered with lightning and fire. Streets were broken, buildings half collapsed, smoke rising from every block. And in the center of it all, Joker stood victorious. He held Superman by the throat, lifting him effortlessly. Superman's body was trembling from damage he never thought he could suffer, bones cracked, skin charred, suit torn nearly off. Joker's own torso was split open from an earlier attack, ribs visible, but already knitting back together in spasms of flesh. Well then. Joker giggled, voice bubbling with delight. I believe this is my win. Once again. He leaned in close. How should I kill you this time? Oh. Are you even killable? I want to try a variety of things. Like a science project. Superman struggled to pull in breath. Joker's grin stretched wider, madder, as he lifted the hand holding Superman higher. But then. Schwip. A black tendril sliced through the air, cutting Joker's arm clean off. Superman dropped to the ground with a gasp. Joker's severed arm twitched on the pavement. Then started laughing. His arm laughed. Raven floated before him, her cape rippling like living smoke, her eyes cold and sharp. Oh. The birdie came back. Joker hissed, tilting his head as a new arm grew in seconds, bones cracking back into place. Tell me, little Raven girl, what do you think you can do, when everyone already failed? Come on, show me. Show me your despair. I want to taste it. He lunged forward. Raven didn't flinch. Instead, she pulled her hood back, revealing the gem, glowing violently. She raised her hands, fingers forming the shape she had never dared to use before. Jason saved my life, Raven whispered. I will return the favor. Not by dying, but by standing. By fighting. Because I am not a monster. Her voice thundered like a spell being carved into reality. Soul Cathedral, Gates of Azarath. The world snapped as Raven's domain was unleashed for the first time ever. A tidal wave of black-purple energy erupted outward, swallowing Joker and Raven whole. Reality blinked. Joker opened his eyes inside a vast, floating cathedral. Constructed of obsidian and violet light, suspended in a spiraling void. The stained glass windows were alive, shifting, writhing, reflecting his own nightmares, failures, memories, sins, every moment of agony and madness wrapped into moving art. The air vibrated with emotion, raw, overwhelming. Raven hovered before him, hair afloat like she was underwater, her aura immense. Her soul flared into existence behind her, an enormous purple shadow with burning white eyes. And opposite her, Joker's soul formed. A blood-red smile. Floating. Dripping. Grinning back. Raven's eyes widened. That's his soul? Her domain's rule was absolute, strength meant nothing. Power meant nothing. Only the soul mattered. Whoever's mind broke first, lost. The battle began instantly. Raven's memories struck Joker like meteors, the torment of Azarath, Trigon's shadow looming over her childhood, the crushing weight of emotions she was never allowed to feel. Joker screamed. But not in fear. Not in pain. In delight. Oh, oh ho ho ho, is that it? His voice warped, echoed, cracked. More. Show me more. This is delicious. Raven's breath stopped. Because his memories surged toward her. His childhood. His cruelty. His laughter while bleeding. His pleasure in agony. His mind, a labyrinth of horror with no beginning or end. Raven gasped, clutching her head. No, no, this isn't human. The cathedral trembled. Her domain, designed to crush even gods with raw emotional truth, started to crumble. Broken glass fell like rain. Walls twisted. The void shrieked. Joker walked through the collapsing domain like a child skipping on a playground. Come on, little birdie. Let's share more. Let's open up to each other. Ha 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 ha. Raven collapsed to her knees, eyes wide, body shaking uncontrollably. She tried to stand. She couldn't. Her soul flickered. Her power broke under the sheer insanity of what she was seeing. How? She whispered. Joker leaned down, face inches from hers, grin splitting wider than natural. Because. He whispered in a voice colder than death, your nightmare is a tragedy. He tapped her forehead. And mine is a punchline. The domain shattered. Raven's body crashed onto the broken street of Gotham, unconscious instantly, unable to withstand even a fraction of Joker's twisted mind. Joker stretched, cracking his neck. That was fun. Fun. Do it again. He laughed in the ruins, stepping over Raven's limp form, his Hal Jordan necklace swinging. As Joker's foot descended toward Raven's unconscious body, the world seemed to shrink into that single murderous motion. But then. His foot stopped. Completely. Impossible. An unmoving wall had intercepted it, a leg, planted firmly like a pillar that refused to acknowledge Joker's existence. Joker's grin twitched, then stretched wider as he slowly looked up. Oh, it's you. His tone dripped with delighted venom. Mind moving your foot a bit? There's a bug I need to squash. His giggle spiraled into a cackle that echoed across the ruined streets. But Jason didn't answer him. He simply stared. Those eyes, fury. Self-hatred. A burning rage that came from seeing too much blood spilled while he was miles away, chasing shadows because someone had played him like a puppet. Jason's gaze swept across the battlefield, the corpses. The mangled heroes. The still forms. And worst of all, Hal Jordan's severed head dangling from Joker's neck, swinging lightly, like a trophy. Jason's chest tightened. His heartbeat slammed like a war drum. He had failed to protect them, failed to arrive in time, failed exactly the way Savage and Queen Bee wanted, removed from the battlefield just long enough to allow this massacre. Jason inhaled slowly. You. His voice cracked under the weight of emotions trying to escape. I'm going to kill you. Joker's smile widened, fascinated. There is no doubt in that. Jason continued, voice low, dangerously calm. But before I get to that. His eyes hardened into steel. You will suffer. A lot. He stepped forward once and the ground cracked. Joker tilted his head in amusement. Jason didn't wait. He reached out, placing his hand squarely against Joker's chest. First of all. He whispered, give me that. His cursed energy surged. Spider web. Joker's body detonated. Not in one explosion. But thousands of micro-tears, his flesh shredded into countless pieces, scattering in every direction like macabre confetti. Limbs spun off. Chunks flew. Ribbons of meat painted the air. But Jason's hand had already snatched what mattered, the intestine chain and Hal's lifeless head. He knelt down, placing them gently on the ground as if handling something sacred. Jason bowed his head, eyes trembling. "I will avenge you," he whispered it with the softness of a prayer. "Rest in peace, Hal." For a moment, everything went silent. Then, crunching, squishing, the wet, sickening sound of the absolute Joker pulling himself back together. Jason rose. Turned. His expression was no longer human. Joker's regenerating torso twisted back into shape as his manic laughter blossomed once more. "Round 2, kiddo." Ahahaha. Jason's attacks tore chunks out of Joker again and again, gashes, holes, shredded flesh, but it didn't matter anymore. Joker's body wasn't just regenerating. It was learning. Each time Jason dismantled him, Joker returned tougher, stranger, more adapted than before. After being scattered by spiderweb, Jason couldn't even cut him the same way again. As if the monster's cells were evolving faster than he could kill him. "Shit, now I'm fighting Maharaga or what?" Jason spat as he twisted his body away from a wild swing. "Aha, you dodged too much." Joker barked, stomping the ground as his grin tore wider. "I don't want that. Stop it." Suddenly his eyes flashed. A searing red beam erupted from them like twin lances of pure insanity. Jason barely managed to leap aside as the beam carved through a skyscraper behind him, melting steel into boiling slag. He landed on a nearby building, panting, dust falling off his shoulders. "I guess we fight fire with fire, eh?" Jason thought as shadows at his feet twisted. From those shadows, Maharaga emerged. The divine Shikigami stood like a demon towering over its prey, while spinning in anticipation. Joker burst out of the building rubble, only to be met by Maharaga's fist. Crack. Joker's skull dented inward, but the monster simply shook his head, eyes gleaming with hysterical joy. "Oh! What is this? Wheel man." Jason didn't waste the opening. He slid behind Joker, hands forming the familiar opening seal. Fuga, divine flame. A hellstorm erupted from his palms, a torrent of cursed fire hotter than anything earthly. It swallowed Joker whole, charring his flesh black and burning bone to ash. Jason stood there watching the skin peel and fall away. Yet Joker kept smiling. A mouth tore itself open on the side of his cheek. "Failure, you will never win like this ever." Sukuna's voice. Jason clenched his teeth and ignored him. He lunged again. Maharaga surged from the other side. Together they hammered Joker between them, blows, cleaves, kicks, crushing strikes. The absolute Joker was strong. Unbelievably strong, but he was clumsy, unrefined. He relied only on brutality. Maharaga's will spun, adjusting, spinning left, spinning right, yet, faltering. Because Joker was changing too. Then, Joker stopped reacting to the pain. His expression flattened. His movements sharpened. He blitzed forward. One instant Maharaga stood there, the next. Crunch. Joker gripped Jason by the torso and smashed him in the face with a monstrous punch. Jason's vision flashed white, blood spraying from his nose as he flew back with a mild concussion. He retaliated mid-air, slicing Joker's hand apart with dismantle, landing on cracked pavement with a grunt as he wiped blood from his lip. Maharaga punched again, but the wheel spun chaotically, confused, unable to settle on a counter. Joker's adaptation is faster than Maharaga's. "Shit," Jason muttered. Sukuna's voice slithered in again. "Fool, that curse, whatever that shit is far more dangerous than Maharaga. Maharaga needs time to understand his opponent, that creature does not. It adapts by death." Jason froze. "Don't you get it?" Sukuna hissed. "You've killed it. They've killed it, over and over, yet it lives, and with each death, it gains immunity. Your spider web won't work anymore because it killed him, cleave cannot damage him, it already killed him, divine flames? Worthless now. Your arsenal is running out, unless you give me the handle. You will die. Jason said nothing. Maharaga screamed, a rare sound, as Joker ripped off its arm and hurled it at Jason like a spear. Jason dodged and fired a dismantle that shredded Joker's leg, giving Maharaga a few seconds of life. But those seconds vanished. Joker's leg regenerated instantly. He used the new limb to kick into Maharaga's abdomen, caving the Shikigami's side inward. Blood sprayed like rain. Joker grabbed Maharaga's face. Snap! He broke its neck. Not satisfied, he stomped its head repeatedly, each impact echoing like a hammer on stone. Jason seized the moment. He dismantled Joker's arms and crashed down on him with both feet, summoning the Vajrakamatuk. Lightning split the sky. Crackaboom! Thunderous divine wrath smote Joker, electricity ripping him apart, blood exploding into steam. He died again. Jason lowered Kamatuk and hid it away, panting heavily. I don't know what to do. Joker's body twitched, then writhed, then. He stood up. Oh, that was electrifying. He blurred forward, faster than before, a punch about to obliterate Jason's head. Oh. Did I say he needs to die to adapt? Sukuna whispered mockingly. I lied. Laughed Sukuna as Jason closed his eyes expecting a deadly hit. The punch never hit. Because someone stood in front of Jason. Clang. Two braceless wrists crossed. Hair flaring in the wind. Eyes glowing pure blue. Diana. At her peak. She slid Joker's punch aside with divine precision and countered with a thunder-charged blow that launched him through several buildings. She turned, breathing hard. Are you alright, Jason? Yeah, thanks to you, he answered, though his mind was racing, clawing for any solution. A solution that you will never find. Ha ha ha. Sukuna roared inside him. Hand over that body. Jason ignored him. And so, Round 2 was about to begin. Wonder Woman surged forward, blade crackling with divine lightning, forcing Joker back with sheer force as Jason staggered away from the front line. Jason stood there for a moment, blood running from his nose, ribs aching, his vision still blurry from Joker's earlier punch. But his mind was sharper than ever, locked on the impossible task before him. You are never going to do this without me. Sukuna's voice slithered through his skull like a venomous whisper. Jason's fingers tightened. I know. He growled under his breath. And so, I'll do it with you. I'll create something special. Something for you. Sukuna paused. For once, he was silent. Jason exhaled, steadied himself, and leapt back just as Joker's fist tore through the ground where he had been standing. Wonder Woman was already there, her leg swinging like a divine guillotine. Crack, her heel connected with Joker's jaw, sending him skidding across the crumbled pavement. Diana. Hold him. Jason shouted. As long as you can. I'm going to do something, but it needs time to prepare. Survive. And hold him as long as you can. Diana didn't hesitate. Got it, she yelled, gripping her lightning-wreathed sword. Be quick though. Just then. A blur of red and black leapt down beside her. You won't be alone. Harley screamed, face bruised, lip bleeding, costume shredded. But despite her trembling hands and bruised ribs, she held her weapon like she was ready to die with it. She knew better than anyone. The only reason she was still alive was because Joker let her live, not out of mercy, but because he wanted to toy with her. Diana, that is your name. Beautiful. Ahahaha. Joker roared as he burst out of the debris, his mangled body knitting itself back together with grotesque speed. Then his eyes found Harley. And look! Look who's back. My pudding. His laughter tore through the battlefield like a tremor, a sound of pure psychotic joy and hunger. Harley's hands shook. But she stood her ground. Wonder Woman placed herself between them, sword drawn, lightning tearing holes in the air around her. She wasn't giving Joker 1 inch. Jason dropped onto the ground behind them, legs crossed, posture straight. He inhaled. The world faded. His cursed energy churned violently, mixing with something darker, deeper, Sukuna's malevolent power twisting inside his soul. Jason whispered. "Now, let's find it." His eyes opened. Pupils burning red like Sukuna's throne had just manifested inside him. A method to kill. The ground trembled around him. The unkillable. Wonder Woman charged first. Her berserker form detonated around her in a storm of divine power, the sky itself flashing white as Zeus's lightning surged through her veins. Her eyes glowed a blinding blue, hair whipping violently behind her as the raw might of Olympus itself flooded her body. She swung her sword. The blade collided with Joker's regenerating frame, sending shockwaves through the ruins of Gotham. Every strike she delivered was lined with thunder, each one powerful enough to level a city block. Yet Joker only laughed. "Yes. More. Break me again, Diana." Ahaha. He swatted aside her divine lightning like sparks from a dying flame. Wonder Woman gritted her teeth and roared, "You will not touch him." She launched into her full godly moveset. Attacks she had learned directly from her mother. Olympus Breaker, a downward cleave so powerful it split the street open. Fury of the War Maiden, a lunging stab backed by hurricane winds. Wrath Arc Lightning lashed from her sword like chained serpents. But Joker adapted. Every cut healed. Every bone she broke snapped back. Every blast of lightning only fed his twisted joy as he danced around her swings, mocking her with every movement. Too slow. Too predictable. "Come on, warrior woman, you can do better than Theet, ha ha ha." Diana pushed harder. Her muscles tore, then healed, blood ran down her arms, boiling against the lightning coursing through her, her breaths came out ragged and hot. Her godly body was nearing its limit. And then, Harley rushed in from behind her. Her bat was cracked, smeared with blood and armored debris. Cursed energy pulsed off it in unstable bursts, flickering in and out of existence, each time forming the unmistakable spark. Black flash. She swung, black flash. Joker's ribs shattered. She swung again. More black flashes, more cursed detonations. More distortion of space itself as her timing synced perfectly with pure instinct. But the strain hit her instantly. Harley's nose started bleeding. Her arms shook violently. Her vision blurred. "Ha ha ha. Oh Harley, Harley, Harley. You're trying so hard. How cute." Joker bellowed, letting her bat cave his skull in, just for it to inflate back into shape. Harley screamed through the pain, swinging again and again. "Stay. The hell. Down." Another black flash. Her arm dislocated from the recoil. Still she swung. Wonder Woman moved beside her, blocking Joker's fists with her sword and body, taking punches that sent cracks through her divine bones. Her lighting roared, but her posture wavered. "Jason, hurry." She whispered through clenched teeth. Joker saw it. He smelled it. Their weakening stamina. Their crumbling defense. Their thinning hope. He laughed so loud the ground vibrated. "You're breaking. You're breaking. Ahahaha." With a twisted shriek he blitzed them, his hand pierced Diana's shoulder, his knee shattered Harley's ribs. His foot crushed the ground where their heads had been a second earlier. Harley coughed blood and dropped to one knee. Wonder Woman staggered, lightning flickering, sword trembling in her grip. They were at the point of failure. And Joker felt it. "When you two die, Jason breaks. Let me hear it. Let me hear his screams." He lunged. Wonder Woman raised her sword for one last block. Harley forced herself upright, gripping her ruined bat. And then Harley Quinn whispered. "Fine. If this is what it takes." She wiped the blood from her lips with the back of her hand. Cursed energy erupted from her spine. Uncontrolled while dangerous. Her eyes widened. Her pupils narrowed. Let's see. Her voice shook. If I can really pull this off. Her cursed energy flared, wild, unstable, dangerous. And she made the sign. A circle with her fingers. Her last resort. Her death sentence. Domain expansion. Her voice trembled, yet rang like a gunshot. Carnival of chaos. The world ruptured. Color exploded, bright, loud, overwhelming, as reality twisted into a warped carnival straight out of a child's nightmare. Towering clown faces floated in the clouds like gods watching from above. A Ferris wheel built from spinning, razor-sharp playing cards turned endlessly with a hungry swing swing swing. Roller coasters looped and moved on their own like metal serpents. Screaming balloons rose into the air, laughter echoing from mouths stitched onto their rubber faces. Joker looked around. And he laughed. Oh, he laughed. Ahahaha. A domain. Just for me. I'm flattered, sweetheart. Harley stepped forward, wiping her nose again, smearing the blood across her cheek like war paint. No, Puttin. Not for you. For killin' you. Her bat twisted, warped, transformed into a massive carnival hammer so huge it should have been impossible to lift. Yet she lifted it like it was nothing. She swung. Boom. The hammer smashed Joker's head sideways. And instantly, dozens of phantom hammers materialized from nothing, copying her strike, smashing Joker from every direction like a chorus of violence. Harley skid backward, boots scraping the candy-colored ground. Joker snarled as his neck twisted unnaturally, then snapped back into place. Harley didn't stop. She hit him again. Boom. This time, Joker exploded into confetti, actual confetti, except each tiny piece was a razor blade shard cutting through him and the air. His body reformed, only to be struck again. A blow that released paralyzing laughing gas. Another that triggered a full automatic combo, fists, boots, phantom hammers hitting from angles even she didn't understand. Another that struck his leg, but the pain bloomed in his skull instead. Random. Unpredictable. Impossible to adapt to. That was Harley's domain. A perfect sure-hit nightmare of chaos incarnate. She became a blur, her movements wild, erratic, desperate. Attacking again and again as Joker stumbled, cackled, screamed, and regenerated in a whirlwind of cartoonish gore. Ha ha ha, stop, this is ridiculous, ah ha ha ha. Harley didn't laugh. For once in her life, she didn't smile. This wasn't funny. This wasn't cute. This wasn't a game. This was survival. She roared with everything she had left, raising the hammer for another world-breaking smash. And failed. Clang. The hammer froze mid-air. Joker wasn't adapting to her attacks. He was adapting to domains themselves. For the first time. Harley's heart dropped. Her sure hit stopped being sure. Joker stepped forward, slowly, methodically, as the domain began to crack around them. His body flickered with a soft, twisted glow. A simple domain. He learned it, inside hers. He made her world meaningless. Harley stepped back, trembling, refusing to let her voice shake. And no, that isn't, how did you? Joker burst through the phantom hammers, shattered the screaming balloons, tore through the roller coaster tracks, unstoppable. Untouchable. He grabbed her throat in an instant. Lifted her into the air. His face stretched into a monstrous, slit-wide grin. Finally caught you. Joker whispered, his voice low, vibrating with something deeply wrong. That was painful, Harley. Truly, truly painful. His smile widened further. Now it's my turn. The domain trembled. Cracked. Shattered. Harley's body trembled in his grip, legs kicking weakly as Joker pulled her closer. His jaw cracked open wider than a human skull should allow, and a long, warped, serpentine tongue slithered out. The tongue dragged across her thighs, leaving a cold, slimy trail that made her skin crawl as if worms were burrowing under it. Harley choked on a disgusted sob, her stomach twisting violently. Then the tongue slithered up her torso, across her stomach, creeping higher like a dead serpent resurrected. She tried to speak, to spit at him, to curse him. But terror locked her throat shut. Joker's slit-wide smile stretched as his tongue dragged across her face, the sticky, foul texture smearing over her cheek and up past her eye. His voice was a twisted melody, dripping with mockery. "Did I fail to love you properly? Harley?" His words were a nightmare. A lie. A mockery. A cruelty. Harley refused to answer. Her eyes shook, not from fear of death, but from the bone-deep terror of him. Of being caught again. Of being touched by that thing pretending to be human. The tongue moved back down again, slithering toward her stomach. And then stopped. Because Joker's face snapped sideways. A shockwave burst through the cracked domain. He had been punched. Hard. Joker staggered, eyes widening in surprise. Standing there, fist still smoking from cursed energy, was Jason. He had returned. Not shaken. Not late. Prepared. Jason stepped in front of Harley, shielding her with his body as if nothing else in the universe mattered. Harley blinked up at him, shaking, bloody, dazed, her voice barely a whisper. "Why, you're carrying me like a princess." Jason didn't look away from Joker. His tone was calm, steady, protective. "Well, aren't you my princess?" Harley's lips trembled. And she smiled, small, weak, relieved. I am." Then her eyes rolled back as consciousness left her, her body slumping gently into Jason's arms. He lowered her to the ground with a tenderness that didn't belong in this hellish battlefield. He brushed her hair aside, checked her breathing, then stood. And as he walked toward Joker, something else stirred. A scream. A furious one. Inside Jason's mind, inside the depth of his soul, Sukuna roared. "You brat! I will kill you! Do you hear that? How dare you? How dare you?" The rage wasn't aimed at Joker. It was aimed at Jason. Something had happened. Something Sukuna despised. What could defeat something that regenerated infinitely? Something that adapted to all attacks, all dangers, all forms of destruction, something that should not exist. Jason had spent endless, frantic thoughts searching for an answer, yet every solution collapsed under Joker's impossible existence. Until, shockingly, the answer came from Sukuna himself. How was Sukuna defeated? Sukuna, the king of curses, who possessed near-limitless regeneration. Who survived the impossible. Who rose after every execution. A monster whose reverse cursed energy reknit his flesh faster than death could take him. Yet even he had died. Even he was defeated. How? And that was the answer Jason arrived at. Yes, he inherited SUKUNA'S techniques. Yes, he wielded SUKUNA'S power, cursed energy, and arsenal. But did he really need to walk SUKUNA'S path? To mimic his style? To obey his instincts? Sukuna himself admitted it, Jason was stronger. Enhanced by whatever Lucifer had forged into this new body, a body molded to survive a world far beyond the jujitsu rule set. So the solution was not in Sukuna. It was in the man who once held Sukuna captive. The boy who chained a god. The one who, ultimately, killed the king of curses. Yuji Itadori. Yuji, who had developed a special attack that struck the soul itself. Even that wasn't enough at first. Even that couldn't kill Sukuna alone. But when Yuji learned his domain, that mysterious domain, he used it to kill the soul, ending Sukuna completely. Jason didn't need the full blueprint. He didn't need Yuji's entire domain. He only needed half of the answer. A soul attack. No matter what Joker adapted to, no matter how invincible his flesh became, a strike to the soul had no adaptation, no evolution, no regeneration. Once the soul is killed, there is nothing left to adapt. Nothing left to revive. Nothing. Jason stood facing Joker, breathing steady, eyes cold with certainty. Beside him, Diana struggled to remain upright, bleeding, shaking, exhausted beyond mortal limits, but still there. Still beside him. Diana, you did great, love. You can rest now, Jason said softly. Diana looked up, panting, voice raw. No. I have to. Diana. I will win. I'm going to kill him now. We won. Joker giggled, twisting his head sideways as if he were mocking a sermon. Have you now? Well, I do not think so, he screamed, stomping on rubble like a furious child. You were fun for a few moments. But I hate playing with you. At least Batsy was fun. He'd never run away and force girls to face me. Jason kept walking toward him, emotion draining from his eyes. I've always wondered what made you crazy, which story about you is the truth. Why you turned out this way. Oh. You wanna know? Joker said, tilting his head. Well, let's see, when I was a kid. Jason cut him off immediately. But now I realized, I don't care. I don't need to. There's no purpose in studying people like you. Because I don't want to fix you, maybe prevent others from turning into you, but you? His footsteps echoed as he approached. As soon as someone reaches this level, death is my answer. Oh, how boring. Joker shrieked. Don't you get it? I don't die. Never. I have become truth. The reality of this world. His laughter scraped the air like knives. Jason didn't even blink. Well, if you survive this, then your words become true. Jason's hands moved with precision, fingers forming the intricate signs, the air around him vibrating with cursed energy. Domain expansion, malevolent shrine, he intoned, his voice cold and absolute. The world around him changed. Black water spilled across the ground like ink, devouring the debris of Gotham in its obsidian tide. Behind him, the malevolent shrine rose. A massive, ominous structure, spires cutting through the dim, fractured sky, shadowed and ancient. Joker's grin widened, a flash of manic delight. Aha! Another one, he bellowed, his body pulsating as if mocking Jason's display. He generated his own crude, simple domain, a chaotic layer of his own mind. Even he didn't fully understand it, but he didn't care. Chaos was its own answer. Jason's gaze was unwavering. He didn't falter. This was only the beginning. Joker, it's time to die. Any last words? Although, nothing you say really matters, Jason spoke, calm but cold. Oh, well, if I had to say. Joker's voice twisted with laughter. Life was great. I killed so many, destroyed so many lives. Gotta say, fun all the way. Jason's eyes narrowed. I see. I understand. Fine. Well, you can die now. Suddenly, the sky tore open in the center, a jagged rift of light that cut through the darkness. A singular, focused descent of energy formed, spiraling downward toward Joker. This was not a simple strike. This was the culmination of Jason's genius. The void-like precision of SUKUNA'S attack, which had harmed Trigon. The relentless force of Dismantle, carving through the impossible. The soul-piercing technique of Yuji Itadori, designed to strike at the essence itself. It didn't target Joker's flesh. It didn't assault his body. It didn't even shatter his crude domain. It reached inside the soul that it split it in two, tearing apart the very foundation of his being. And then, the soul exploded. Joker didn't scream. He didn't fight. He had no words. No laughter. He simply died. His husk of a body fell first to its knees, then face first into the rubble. All the chaos, all the terror, all the blood he had spilled, and it ended here. Peaceful. Silent. Horrifyingly quiet. Jason's chest heaved, anger roiling inside him like molten fire. He had ended Joker's life with a tool meant to bring peace to a soul. To bring calm. To offer rest. And he hated it. He hated it because Joker didn't deserve rest. He hated it because no peace could ever wash clean the horrors he inflicted. But there was no other choice. The domain collapsed. The black water vanished, leaving the broken city exposed. Heroes stirred, groaning, blinking through the wreckage. They saw it, the impossible had been done. Joker was gone. And Jason stood alone. Surrounded by ruin. Surrounded by fallen heroes. Superman, Supergirl, Flash, Wonder Woman, Harley, Raven. Many passed out from exhaustion, many more dead. Buildings lay in ruin. Gotham itself was half destroyed. Corpses littered the streets. Hal Jordan. Captain Atom. Joan Johns. All gone. Only one man remained standing. Jason Anderson. To the world, he was the hero. To himself, he was a failure. He had fallen for traps. He had been distracted. He had been too late. Too slow. Not strong enough to end the nightmare sooner. And that anger, that raw, burning, uncontrollable rage, needed a target. His eyes turned to the figure orchestrating it all. The man behind the chaos. The puppet master who thought he could manipulate even this. Vandal Savage. Today, the world witnessed a horrifying event. The news anchor began, her voice trembling despite years of practiced neutrality. The villain known as the Joker launched an unprecedented attack on Gotham City. Blocks of infrastructure lie in ruins, millions of dollars in damage. But those numbers pale in comparison to the devastation he inflicted on human life. So far, 74,230 people have been confirmed dead. Another 749 remain missing. Injuries have surpassed 325,071 and emergency wards across the city are overflowing. Her eyes lowered for a moment, as if she needed to physically wrestle the next words out. And today, we lost heroes. Real heroes. Members of the Justice League who gave their lives trying to stop him. Among the fallen are Captain Atom, Martian Manhunter, and Green Lantern. A painful silence clung to the studio when she said that name, as if the weight of Hal Jordan's legacy, now reduced to a severed head swinging from Joker's neck like a trophy, was too much for the room to bear. Many others are gravely injured as well. Flash lost his leg during the confrontation. The city will not forget this. She straightened herself, pulling professionalism over her grief like a fragile mask. Joker was only finally stopped when the leader of Pantheon arrived on scene. Jason Anderson, alongside Raven, Wonder Woman and Harley Quinn, engaged Joker directly. The villain, after transforming his body into something resembling Doomsday, was killed in the ensuing fight. But the loss, the devastation. Her voice cracked again. The damage is unforgettable. She turned toward her guest. Donald, your thoughts? The man swallowed before speaking. First, my condolences to the families of the heroes we lost, and to every innocent life taken by this monster. Captain Atom, Martian Manhunter, Green Lantern, we owe them everything. And to the thousands hurt or mourning tonight, I am deeply, deeply sorry. He drew a breath. And to the heroes who helped stop Joker, especially Jason Anderson, thank you. Truly. But before he could continue, the second guest cut in, leaning forward like a man who had waited years to finally say what he felt. No. Don't thank Jason, he snapped. Acknowledge him. Because Jason was right from the start. He jabbed a finger at the table. Had we followed his lead, had we eliminated these monsters instead of coddling them with moral philosophy, none of this would have happened. None of It. The first man slammed his hand on the desk. The Justice League did everything they could. Human rights still matter. You don't get to kill someone just because you deem them evil. Yes you do, the other barked back. I trust Jason. The world trusts Jason. He has proven, again and again, that he is willing to do what the others are too righteous or too scared to do. He is a protector. He is the path forward. And we, he thumped his chest, we're the ones standing in the way of his righteousness by letting monsters like Joker live long enough to slaughter us. The studio devolved into chaotic shouting. Analysts, experts, and hosts all talking over one another as grief mixed with anger and ideology into something volatile and ugly. Batman watched silently. Then he pressed the button and turned the television off. The room fell into a suffocating quiet broken only by the soft hum of the Batcave's monitors. Master Wayne. Alfred said gently. You cannot blame yourself for this. This tragedy was beyond even your foresight. How could anyone predict Joker would twist his flesh into a doomsday abomination? How could anyone, any human, prepare for something like this? You aren't at fault. You were simply not prepared. Bruce didn't answer immediately. He stared down at his hands. Steady, calloused, trembling just slightly. These hands. He whispered. Alfred. I am to blame. I spent years fearing one thing above all else, killing. I swore never to cross that line, never to become what they were. And I made it a rule, not just for me, but for everyone around me. Joker was always right there. Always within my reach. I could have stopped him. Ended him. Ended 1,000 tragedies before they ever happened. But I refused. Again, and again, and again. His voice hollowed. So tell me. Why? Why did I refuse? Master Wayne, Alfred said carefully, stepping closer, what you stand for matters. Killing, even for the right reasons, can lead to killing for the wrong ones. One mistake, and an innocent pays the price. Your restraint is what kept you human. What kept you from becoming like them. Bruce let out a bitter, humorless breath. Funny, Alfred. I think I know exactly what Jason would say to that. He looked at his hands again, but this time with a clarity that chilled the room. He'd say, I'd rather one innocent man die than 1,000. Alfred froze. Bruce rose from his chair with a heaviness that seemed to age him decades in a single motion. I'm done, Alfred, he said quietly, but with finality. I'm retiring. This is it. Batman, will hang up the cape. The doors of the Bialyan throne room didn't open, they exploded. Marble shattered, guards flew like dolls, and gunmetal rained across the floor in twisted chunks. Jason, still smeared with the dried blood of Gotham's aftermath, marched through the destruction like a walking executioner. Every guard who dared lift a weapon died before their finger reached the trigger, bodies split open, armor crushed, necks snapped with casual, merciless precision. The room became an instant graveyard. Queen Bee jolted upright from her throne, eyes glowing a desperate golden. Wait. Wait. What are you doing? Her voice cracked, but she still tried to command him. Stop. Stop right there. Do not att. Her pupils shrank in horror. Her powers didn't work. Not even a flicker of influence touched Jason. His rage drowned out her pheromone control like a bonfire devouring a spark. Jason grabbed her by the neck and hurled her against the massive wall behind her throne with a slam that cracked stone and dented metal. Where is he? She gagged, clutching uselessly at his arm. Who? I don't know who you want. He didn't even blink. He slammed her again, harder. Vandal Savage. His voice was calm, the terrifying kind of calm only monsters ever achieve. Where is he? Queen Bee choked. I don't know. Why would I know that? This is a political invasion. Are you out of your Her sentence died in a spray of blood. Her hand hit the floor with a wet slap. Ag! Her scream echoed through the throne room. Hi, broken animal. Why? Why did you? What did I do? Jason didn't flinch. The next one will be your head. Answer honestly. I don't know anything, she sobbed. He escaped. He ran into space. That's all I know, please. Please. Spare me. Her voice dropped into a trembling, desperate purr, attempting seduction through the agony. You're a man, aren't you? Men always want me. I'll do anything. I'll be yours, your woman, your slave, please just don't kill me. I didn't choose this. Savage, witch boy, he forced my hand. I just want to rule my people in peace, please, please. Jason released her. She collapsed, trembling, clutching the bloody stump where her hand used to be. He pressed his boot onto the side of her head. Not enough to crush it, but enough to remind her how easy it would be. You live, he said coldly, solely because you're the ruler of a nation. I'm not starting a war today. He leaned forward, applying a bit more pressure, just enough to make her gasp. But listen carefully, if you ever do something I don't like, you die. If I hear even a rumor of you going back to your old games, you die. He lifted his foot and walked away, leaving her sobbing on the floor, swimming in terror and blood. Outside the palace, Diana was waiting, arms crossed, expression unreadable. I didn't expect you to spare her, she said softly. Jason didn't look at her. I didn't. She blinked. What do you mean? I'm hoping she does something stupid, he muttered. Then I'll use her to find that bastard. Today, we gather to remember heroes. Superman's voice carried across the silent plaza, heavy, patient, and full of the grief he had been holding back since Gotham fell. The podium lights caught the lines of exhaustion on his face, even the Man of Steel looked breakable today. Each one of these heroes gave their lives in service to our world, he continued. They set aside the peace of a civilian life and stepped willingly into danger, again and again, because they believed this planet was worth protecting. Behind him stood the memorial wall, a vast, polished slab engraved with the names of the dead. Flowers covered its base, layered so thick the stone was nearly hidden. Candles flickered in the wind. Letters, drawings, photos, shaking handwriting from grieving families and friends, all pinned carefully across the marble surface. Superman took a slow breath. Martian Manhunter. John Johns, an alien like myself, who came searching for sanctuary after losing his homeworld. But he didn't hide. He didn't retreat into sorrow. With the power he carried, he could have lived quietly, safely, far from conflict. But he chose to stand with us, to fight evil again and again. His heart was gentle, his compassion limitless, and he used both to guide us. A murmur of quiet mourning passed through the crowd. Captain Adam, Clark continued, his voice softening. An American soldier. A veteran of the Vietnam War. He began as a second lieutenant, rose to captain, and was betrayed by those he trusted. Used. Experimented on. Thrown into a future where his country barely remembered him. Superman closed his eyes briefly. And yet, he still chose to serve it again. He stood with us as a hero. He fought harder than most, and he deserved far, far better than the end he received. He swallowed. Even from far away, reporters could see his throat tighten. And Green Lantern. Hal Jordan. The silence deepened. My friend. Our friend. A founding member of the League. A man who didn't just serve this world, but thousands of others. He protected the innocent wherever he went. He carried a willpower strong enough to inspire even the bravest lanterns. Hal always tried to lift others up, always smiled, even when he shouldn't have been able to. Clark's voice broke for just a second. He was a hero to the universe itself, and it will feel his absence. Superman stepped back from the microphone, his head bowed. For a moment he couldn't speak. Then he forced himself forward. People died. People suffered, he said quietly. A monster, created to destroy our world, tore through Gotham and stole peace from thousands. We have never seen an attack like this before. He looked out over the sea of mourners. As someone who fought in that battle, I am sorry. We failed to stop him sooner. We failed to prevent the suffering he caused. He inhaled, steadying himself. And I stand alive today, as do many heroes, and countless civilians, because of one man. Because of his strength, his resolve, and his willingness to do what the rest of us could not. Superman stepped aside. My deepest thanks to Jason Anderson, leader of the Pantheon. The hero who saved us. Thank you, Jason. Jason walked forward. The wind brushed against him, carrying the quiet sobs of families gathered at the front rows. His gaze drifted across the names on the wall, and the flowers beneath them, and a flicker of pain crossed his eyes. He took the microphone. First, Jason began, voice low, steady, and grim, I mourn the people we have lost. Heroes, friends, and thousands of innocent men, women, and children. He exhaled. A lot of people are praising me. Calling me a hero. Saying I saved lives. His gaze fell to the ground. But all I can think about is failure. The silence grew heavy. I failed to arrive sooner. I fell into the traps our enemy set. I let myself be led astray. This isn't an excuse. It's a warning, to myself. He shook his head slowly. I failed this time. And I won't fail again. Jason looked out over the crowd, over the grieving families, the destroyed lives, the heroes standing injured or bandaged among them. As for those who lost loved ones, I can't bring them back. Nothing I say can fill the hole Joker left in your hearts. He paused. But I can promise you this, Joker was not the end. He was only the beginning. I will find every person responsible. Every mind behind this attack. Every monster hiding in the shadows. His voice hardened into something cold and deadly. And I will kill them. Whispers spread across the crowd, but Jason didn't waver. It won't bring your families back, he said. But it will make sure nothing like this ever happens again. He stepped back, leaving the podium behind him. The president took center stage next, strong, resolute, determined to reassure a nation unraveling with fear and grief. She spoke of strength, unity, and a country that would not bow to terror. She ended with a moment of silence, heads bowed across the plaza, for all who died in the Gotham incident. And in that silence, no one noticed Jason's eyes drifting toward the sky. After the funeral, after the speeches, the salutes, the quiet sobs, and the final moment of silence, Jason walked the long metallic corridor leading back to his office aboard the Pantheon space station. His steps were slow, heavy, as though every stride carried the weight of Gotham's dead on his shoulders. When the doors slid open, he expected emptiness, just the soft hum of the station. Instead, he found two figures waiting for him. Kara and Zatanna. Both standing still, almost nervous in the hallway's sterile light. Jason stared at them, tired eyes unblinking. Why are you here? Zatanna stepped forward first, swallowing hard before speaking. I'm joining your team, she said immediately, no hesitation left in her voice. I want to be part of Pantheon. Jason raised an eyebrow, but she continued before he could say anything. I know what I did, she said, guilt twisting through every syllable. I stood against you. I voted against you. I broke my word when I promised support. I never said a good thing about you, because I truly believed your path was wrong. That you were dangerous. That Pantheon was a mistake. She shook her head, jaw trembling as the reality of Gotham's destruction flashed behind her eyes. But I can't keep lying to myself about what happened. Her voice cracked slightly. I can't keep defending monsters who only want to erase us. Who enjoy destruction. Who slaughter innocents and laugh. She took a breath. No more. So. I want in. Whatever you ask. Whatever you need. I'll do it. I want to stand with you now. Jason looked at her for a long moment. Unreadable, cold, exhausted beyond measure. Finally, he sighed. You're in. Zatanna exhaled shakily, relief mixing with shame. Jason then turned to Kara. And you? Kara didn't flinch. She stepped closer, eyes fierce but shaken by the memory of Joker tearing through her like paper. I want to be stronger, she said, voice steady but heavy with frustration. I understand now, even as a Kryptonian, even with all the power I'm supposed to have, it wasn't enough. She clenched her fists. Raven and Harley, they held Joker back longer than I did. They hurt him more than I could. So whatever you did to them, whatever that power is, curse, technique, whatever insane thing you pulled from that other world, I want it. Jason nodded once, curt. Fine. Tomorrow morning. Training ground. Be there. He walked past them, heading toward his office door, but stopped just before entering. He glanced back. You too, Zatanna. Tomorrow. Then he stepped inside and shut the door. The room was quiet, too quiet. He sat at his desk, pulled open a drawer, and poured himself a glass of expensive whiskey. The kind he normally saved for victories. He drank slowly, letting the burn travel down his throat. For 1 second, he let himself taste it. Then. Crash. He hurled the glass against the wall, watching the shards scatter across the floor, amber liquid dripping down the metal like blood. The silence that followed was suffocating. Jason leaned back in his chair, eyes closing for a moment. Kara, you're more suited for this, Jason said, voice calm but carrying the weight of a mentor who'd already walked through hell. Cursed energy flows through the entire world, through every city, every battlefield, every corpse left behind. But harnessing it, that requires more training than either of you think. He turned his gaze to Zatanna, measured, honest. For you, this might actually be more difficult. You've already mastered magic. And while the two systems look similar from the outside, the differences between them are massive. Magic harnesses positive energy, life force, willpower, order. Everything that keeps the world running and alive. Jason raised a finger, letting a faint shimmer of cursed energy crackle across it, darker, heavier, almost suffocating. Cursed energy is the opposite. You're harnessing the bad energy of the world. The emotional residue released when evil spreads. Fear, hatred, despair, the collective suffering of humanity. Curses feed on that. And sorcerers weaponize it. Zatanna crossed her arms. If Raven was able to learn it, why shouldn't I? Jason shook his head firmly. The difference is that Raven's entire existence is connected to curses. Her magic isn't purely human or learned, it's demonic, born from Trigon's influence. Her power already overlaps with negative emotions and corrupted energy. You don't have that. Your magic is structured. Deliberate. Learned. Even inherited. It's built on rules. Zatanna frowned, but she listened. Jason continued, and honestly, learning to harness cursed energy isn't even necessary for you. What you need is the ability to create a domain. Kara blinked. And, what about me? Jason pointed at her. You don't have any connection to the magical world. No mystical bloodline. No sorcerer training. So learning curses is necessary for you. Your Kryptonian physiology already makes your emotions powerful. If you can learn to shape and weaponize them the way sorcerers do, you'd be terrifying. Then he turned back to Zatanna. But you, Zatanna Zatara, you only need to do something insane. Her eyebrow rose. Insane how? Create a domain using nothing but your own magic, Jason said, dead serious. No cursed technique. No negative energy. Just pure sorcery reshaped into something never done before. A magical domain instead of a cursed one. The air around them grew heavier as the implication sank in. Jason clapped his hands once. Anyway, let's start. Ag. Kara's cry echoed through the training arena as Jason's swift kick caught her jaw, sending her stumbling to one knee. Seizing the opening, Zatanna materialized behind him, lips parting to weave a spell. But the incantation died in her throat as Jason vanished from her sight, reappearing at her flank in a blur of motion. His foot drove into her side with punishing force, crumpling her with a sharp gasp. This isn't working. Jason's voice was calm, analytical, as he paced slowly toward the two winded women. Your emotions aren't flaring up as they should. The desperation, the rage, it's all too controlled. He stopped, a cold, calculating glint entering his eyes. You know what? Let's try a more direct approach. Why don't I just bring the anger out of you? He moved. A vicious kick to Zatanna's midsection doubled her over before he spun to evade Kara's furious, telegraphed punch. The dodge gave him the angle he needed. His hand shot out, palm flattening against Kara's abdomen. Cleave. There was no spray of blood, no rending of flesh. Instead, the technique executed a surgical, devastating precision. Kara's uniform, the durable, form-fitting fabric, exploded outwards in a burst of disintegrating threads, leaving her standing in shocked, utter nudity. A heartbeat of stunned silence hung in the air before she instinctively crossed her arms over her chest, her body quivering with a mixture of fury and humiliation. What are you?" she stammered. Jason's response was another kick to her side, sending her rolling across the hard floor, every vulnerable curve exposed. "Jason, what are you doing? This is harassment. This is incest." Zatanna's protest was cut short as he closed the distance. His palm slapped against her stomach. Cleave. Her clothing met the same fate, vanishing in a puff of disintegrated material. She landed on her back, completely bare, her face a mask of outrage and disbelief. "Enemies on the battlefield are merciless and relentless," Jason stated, his tone devoid of any lechery, making the violation feel even colder. "To them, your nude bodies are worthless. Attacks will come regardless of whether you're clothed or not." A sonic boom of pure rage answered him. "You bastard!" Kara shot toward him, a nude blur of fury, her fist aimed to shatter his skull. He sidestepped with insulting ease, his knee rising to meet her abdomen with a sickening thud, launching her upward to crater the ceiling. As she fell back, he caught her by the throat, holding her aloft. "Anger," he mused, his gaze clinical. "Now that's an emotion I wanted to see. Nothing brings out anger more than shame." His eyes deliberately trailed down her form, lingering on her perky, exposed small breasts. "But what do you feel shame from? Me seeing you? There's nothing to be ashamed of from my perspective. You're quite a healthy, sexy woman." To prove his point or to stoke the flames higher, he extended his free hand and casually grasped her left breast. The reaction was instantaneous and volcanic. A guttural scream tore from Kara's throat as her foot rocketed up, catching him squarely in the face. He staggered back, releasing her. She flew at him like a vengeful comet. Again, he sidestepped, and as she passed, his hand came down in a sharp, loud crack against her bare ass, the sound echoing through the arena. "You molesting bastard!" Zatanna screamed from the ground, raising a trembling hand. "Separe d'nib." Tattered remnants of her own destroyed clothes leaped up, weaving into thick ropes that coiled around Jason, pinning his arms. Seizing the chance, Zatanna aimed. Arif Nrub. A torrent of fire roared from her palm. But the bindings were too weak, and Jason's strength was too great. He shattered the robes an instant before the blast reached him, not to defend himself, but to step aside. The fireball slammed instead into the onrushing Kara, engulfing her. In the moment of distraction, Jason was behind Zatanna again. His arms snaked around her, his hands locking over her breasts from behind, pulling her flush against him in an inescapable hold. She threw her head back, trying to smash his jaw, but it was like striking steel. She went limp, all fight draining into cold, seething contempt. "You're a bastard," she whispered, the words dripping with venom. Jason released her immediately. "Wear your clothes and wait on the side." "You're out of the fight," he stated, his earlier taunting tone gone, replaced by pure assessment. "This method won't work on you." He turned his attention back to Kara, who erupted from the dissipating flames with a primal scream. Ag! Their clash resumed, a brutal, intimate dance. He blocked her haymaker and delivered a counter to her ribs. She kicked, he parried. When she tried to grapple him and take to the air, he slapped her hands away, then, with deliberate, clinical provocation, reached out and pinched both of her nipples. They hardened instantly under his touch. She recoiled as if electrocuted, embarrassment and rage warping her features. "F you. Stop doing that. Ag." Her hands flew up, glowing with a strange, rippling purple-black energy she had never conjured before. She threw a wild punch, and only mid-swing did she see the volatile, dark flame wreathing her fist. "What? What have you done to me?" My hand is on fire," she panicked, trying to shake the eerie energy loose. "It's not on fire," Jason corrected, a smirk finally touching his lips. "That's cursed energy." The realization hit her, followed immediately by another wave of acute awareness. She was still standing naked before him, her body on full display. She hastily tried to cover herself again. "How did I do that? I felt nothing. While touching your breasts, slapping your ass, and pinching your nipples was engaging," Jason said, his tone shifting back to that of an instructor reviewing data. "I didn't do it for nothing. Each touch was meant to embarrass and anger you, while also leaving a trace injection of cursed energy within you. Add your potent embarrassment and fury as a catalyst, and you managed to tap into it and manifest it." "That was cursed energy," she breathed, before her eyes narrowed. "Wait. That doesn't excuse what just happened. You're a pervert." "Sure thing," Jason shrugged, unconcerned. "Well, now you know the feeling and the emotional formula required. All you have to do is find that energy again through meditation and learn to harness it consciously. Consider this lesson complete. You passed." A triumphant smile broke through Kara's anger. "Yes," she cheered, throwing a fist in the air. Only to remember her state and snap her arms back down with a squeak, darting toward the locker room at super speed. Jason walked over to where Zatanna had managed to fashion a makeshift covering from residual fabric. He knelt beside her. She spoke first, her voice cool. "So it was to anger us. To test our limits and force a breakthrough. What an unconventionally brutal way of doing things. You're still a bastard, though." Jason offered a faint, unrepentant smile. "What can I say? Training efficacy takes priority over comfort. Anyways, talk to Harley and Raven about how to create a domain, and start work on that." She studied him, a new suspicion dawning. "Wait. You said I can't control cursed energy this way. Why did you touch me, then?" He stood up, turning to leave. Over his shoulder, he delivered the answer with blunt, teasing honesty. "Because you're sexy." He exited the arena, the door hissing shut behind him. Left alone, Zatanna felt a sudden, traitorous heat flood her cheeks, turning them a brilliant, furious pink. She hugged her covered torso, scowling at the empty doorway. Pervert. The office lights sat low and warm, tinting the walls in the mellow glow of late evening. Jason sat buried in a fortress of reports, each page a reminder of how the world had tilted after the tragedy of Joker. The room felt too quiet, like even the shadows were waiting for him to exhale. Public opinion had detonated upward. 40-something% had become 80. Half a world that used to argue about due process was now chanting for blood. Jason hated that part. He hated the way justice mutates when people get scared. He massaged his temple as he read another trending post calling him the sin-bearer. Some artist had drawn him holding humanity's sins like flaming chains across his shoulders. Others were calling him a good devil. One lunatic was already building a shrine. He muttered at his screen, voice low and tired. Sin bearer, what the hell? They're turning me into a bargain bin folklore demon. People's hubris never stops. His cursor flicked past another video clip of his interview, the one that had gone viral. His words echoed back at him from the screen. Blood isn't something to be desired. You must never want to see villains dead. Live like Superman would, with hope. Let the dirty parts fall on me. I'll take responsibility. A quote meant to calm the world, instead it turned him into a myth. The door opened with a soft click. Diana stepped inside, closed it, and leaned against it for a moment like she needed a breath. Her gaze softened as it landed on him. How are you doing, Jason? He closed a folder, offered her a weary smile. I'm doing great. What about you? Harley, Raven, the others? Diana approached with slow steps. I'm fine, she said. Harley and Raven will be out in a week. The others not long after. Only Flash is, out of commission. Likely forever. Her voice cracked on that last word before she pressed on. She came around the desk and sat gently on his lap, her hand lifting to cradle his cheek. But what about you, Jason? I read everything online. I see how they're talking about you. How do you feel? Jason let out a humorless exhale. It doesn't get to me. Not really. Bit annoying that they're turning me into a god. But I don't care. Diana's heart warmed at that, she could feel it in the way she settled against him, the way her thumb brushed his cheek. Then she asked the real question. What about Joker? Jason's eyes dropped to his hands. Silence stretched. Then. It's not that I'm hurt by what happened, he said quietly. But I felt weak, Diana. Her fingers stilled, Jason swallowed and continued. I never had someone built specifically to counter me. And when I won, it felt empty. Tasteless. I looked around and saw no celebration, just bodies, friends dying, people I care about injured, terrified. It felt like I should have done more. Hurt him more. Instead he got, the most peaceful death someone like him could ever get. Diana leaned her head against his chest, listening to his heartbeat. Jason. He pulled in a slow breath. I'm not ashamed I killed him, he whispered. I'm ashamed it wasn't enough. Diana lifted her head, eyes solemn but fierce. Let me tell you something. She intertwined her fingers with his. When Doomsday first appeared, we didn't even dare get close. He was mindless. That's the only reason any of us survived. He didn't think. He didn't torture. He didn't taunt. We attacked from afar, terrified. Even Clark struggled. Jason nodded. He'd heard pieces of this, but never from her voice. And yes, we killed him, she continued. We poisoned him with kryptonite, because that was the only way. And it cost Clark his life. We held a funeral. We mourned him. She paused, breath trembling. Joker was different. Her voice hardened with something raw. He attacked a city. He used civilians as shields. He twisted minds. He broke us emotionally. When I saw the footage of Hal. Her throat closed. Jason placed a steadying hand on her thigh. She forced herself to continue. If I'd been there, Jason would have died. Because I wouldn't have been able to hold myself back. Her fingers curled into his shirt. When you fought him. I couldn't move. I was terrified to breathe. All I could think was losing you to him. Her forehead pressed to his. I wanted you to run. His heart tightened at that. So don't you dare diminish what you did, she whispered. You're a hero, Jason. More than us in that moment. Because even with all his tactics, all his cruelty, all his psychological warfare, you didn't fall. You stayed true. You fought him the only way that could stop someone like him. Then she kissed him. Not the desperate kind that trembles, but the kind that claims, grounds, and restores. A slow, deep, soul-steadying kiss. When she pulled back, her forehead rested against his. "I'm happy I didn't lose you." Her voice was a soft tremor. "So don't torture yourself with this. Please. You don't deserve it." Jason closed his eyes, breathing her in, her warmth, her truth, her strength wrapped around the fracture inside him. For the first time since the Joker incident, the weight on his shoulders eased. Just a little. A soft chime of the office lock broke the warmth between them. The door swung open and Kara stepped in mid-sentence, all bright urgency. "Jason. We've found Summit." She froze. Her eyes fell on Diana perched in Jason's lap, her hand still resting on his cheek. The air between them was thick, vulnerable, clearly mid-confession. Kara's brain performed a violent reboot. "Oh, sorry. My bad." She backpedaled so fast her cape almost got caught in the door, then slammed it shut behind her. Outside the office, her thoughts spiraled into chaos like hyperspeed fireworks. Jason with Diana? Didn't Harley say she was with him? Oh Rao, is he cheating? Inside the office, Jason exhaled through his nose. "Kara, you can walk in now." The door cracked open. Kara slid in like a guilty toddler caught stealing cookies, eyes flitting rapidly from Diana now standing beside Jason, composed and regal to Jason who looked strangely calm and back. Her internal monologue was a meltdown. "They're not even denying it. They're just standing there like I didn't walk in on a Greek tragedy." Jason straightened. "So. What is it? What did you want to tell me?" Kara tried to keep her voice level, but her eyes still bounced between them like rubber bullets. Well, the surveillance we placed on Bialia picked something up. Alien in origin. Adam Strange tagged it before it hit atmosphere. We intercepted a voice message its origin from space and its path, to Earth, specifically inside Queen Bee's castle. Diana's brow furrowed. "Looks like your bait worked." Jason nodded, the shift from emotional to tactical almost instantaneous. He stood, grabbing his coat. "Let's go see what Adam found." They moved toward the door with perfect strategic synergy. Behind them, Kara stared at the two of them with wide, betrayed eyes, her thoughts practically screaming in neon. "They don't even care that I just caught him cheating." Jason stepped into the surveillance room, the hum of machines and scrolling star maps washing over him like white noise. The tension in the air was sharp, focused. Adam Strange was already on his feet the moment Jason crossed the threshold. "Jason," Adam said, tapping a console with barely contained excitement. "We've got something. Proof of contact. And as a bonus, I managed to recover part of the transmission itself." Jason's lips curved into a slow, cold smile. "Good. Let's see what you've got." Adam nodded and keyed in the playback. "Here. This is as clean as I could get it." The speakers crackled. Static swallowed the first few seconds, the audio stuttering like a wounded thing trying to breathe. GH, prob, weave, and low. The noise slowly thinned, sharpened, and then the voices came through. "This army will help us reclaim Earth as our own," Vandal Savage's voice said, calm and assured, steeped in arrogance. "It will destroy the League. And that damn Jason." Queen Bee's reply came immediately, raw and furious. "I don't care," she shouted. "You ran away and left me for him. He almost killed me. My powers don't work on him, and now I'm trapped. He's watching every move I make. I'm going to die at this rate." Jason's eyes narrowed, his expression unreadable. "Relax," Savage replied smoothly. "Our friend assured us this army will be perfect. He's an enemy of the League as well. He hates them personally. They killed him once." "Do you not hear me?" Queen Bee screamed. "You're out there, wherever the hell you are, and you left me behind. This friend of yours won't help when my head gets cut in half." I lost my arm to him. I had to use beast healers just to reattach it, and I can't even feel it. Her voice cracked with fear, no longer masked by rage. If this army fails, and it will, then I die. I am not crossing Jason again. I'm done, Savage. Done. Bye. The feed cut out abruptly, leaving only static in its wake. Silence settled over the room. Adam exhaled slowly. That's everything we managed to recover. The first half was too damaged to reconstruct, but this is enough to confirm she's working with him. Jason's smirk returned, sharper this time, edged with promise. Indeed, he said quietly. And I'll personally find out what was in that first message. He turned his head slightly. Kara. Bring Zatanna. We're going on a special mission. Kara stiffened for half a second, then nodded quickly. Sure. Okay. Yeah, let's go. The jet hummed through the night sky towards Byalia. Jason sat back, letting the vibration soothe him, while Zatanna piloted the craft. He felt a persistent stare burning into the side of his head. Kara was seated next to him, her gaze fixed on him with an intensity that felt less like curiosity and more like she was trying to solve a particularly offensive puzzle. He ignored it as long as he could. But the stare didn't waver, sharp and judgmental. Finally, he cracked. What is it? Jason asked, not turning his head. Kara startled, as if jerked from a daydream. What? You keep staring at me like I'm a bastard. Spit it out, Jason said, finally looking at her. She straightened in her seat, eyes narrowing. Okay, fine. I'll ask. Harley Quinn. What's your deal with her? Huh? She was talking about smashing with you, going on about your magical, big D or whatever, whatever, but that's not the point. Is it true? Are you with her? Like, not just smash buddies or a one-night thing. Are you guys a couple? Jason sighed, a short, exasperated sound. That's your big mystery? Yeah. We're a couple. What's it to you? No, I mean. I'm not against it. It's just, this morning. What the hell was that? Kara pressed, her voice rising. Zatanna sighed from the cockpit. If you're still on about the clothes thing, just forget it. The bastard at least unlocked your cursed energy. With me, he just copped a feel of my tits for his own fun. No. Not that. I didn't even mind the training. Kara shot back. I'm talking about you and Diana. I'm not stupid. I have perfect vision, mind you. I saw her sitting in your lap, giving you those little secret kisses. So what the hell was that? What of it? Jason said, his voice flat. Yes, she was on my lap. Yes, she was kissing me. What's the problem? What the hell do you mean, what's the problem? You're cheating. On Harley. Kara exclaimed, righteous anger flushing her cheeks. Jason just sighed again, a smirk tugging at his lips. I see what this is. You're just a nosy little shit, eh? Hey. I'm serious. It's disrespectful. Cheating is not cool, man. If what she says is true, then yeah, Jason, what the hell? Zatanna chimed in, glancing back. Jason's smirk widened. Well, have you asked Harley's opinion on it? What? Of course not. I wanted to confirm it first and give you a chance to come clean to her. Kara said, crossing her arms. Well, had you asked, you'd know Harley is okay with it. In fact, she set the whole shit up, Jason said, leaning back, his expression triumphant. I'm in what people call a polyamorous relationship with them. What? Really? Kara blurted out, eyes wide. Zatanna nodded slowly. Huh. Explains your chillness about it. A deep blush spread across Kara's face. Shit. Does that mean I judged you? I'm sorry. Nah, it's cool. I was just messing with you anyway, Jason said, his tone lighter. Wow. You, Diana, and Harley? That's cool. But... Kara fumbled, her anger replaced by flustered curiosity. I don't know. Doesn't it feel weird? Knowing your partner will be with someone else? No, Jason explained simply. Because they won't be. Diana and Harley are mine alone. No one else's. Wait, so like, isn't this just a harem? Kara asked, tilting her head. I guess you can call it that, yeah, Jason replied with a shrug. Wow. Okay. That's a bit unfair, Zatanna cut in, her voice dry. You get to smash with anyone you want, and they're stuck with you? Yeah. I mean, it's their choice. I didn't force it. Rules are simple, they love me, I love them. I smash any girl I desire and add her to my harem. They aren't allowed other men. Just me. That's messed up, Zatanna stated. But Kara was the odd one out, looking thoughtful. I mean, why? I'm not sure how it works on Earth, but every other planet I've visited has some version of this. Strong men, strong women, kings and queens, they all have their harems. Personal collections of people devoted to them. Sometimes it's out of love, sometimes it's out of submission. Zatanna opened her mouth to argue that Earth wasn't like that, but stopped herself. She'd be lying. Her own magical heritage and plenty of human history told a different story. I mean, I guess it's the same in this case, she conceded. Indeed, Jason said, his voice dropping to a more serious, almost possessive tone. Besides, I truly do love them. I don't force them to stay. If they hadn't found me satisfactory, they wouldn't be with me. Oh, what, you're flexing your skills on us now, Mr. Big D. Kara retorted, recovering some of her fire. Well, I'll have you know, I'm a Kryptonian. Don't go thinking you can handle all women. Jason's smirk returned, predatory and sharp. I don't know about that. Last time, all I had to do was pinch your nipples to make you go weak. How hard can you truly be? Kara blushed to the tips of her ears, a mix of outrage and memory flashing in her eyes. She was about to snap back when Zatanna interrupted. All right, enough. We're here. Byalia Castle. Jason got up, watching as Zatanna began lowering the ship. Well then. Let's have some fun with Queen Bee. He moved toward the back exit but paused beside Kara. In one swift, teasing motion, his hand shot out and delivered a sharp, stinging slap to her ass under her skirt. Last one inside owes the other a favor, he joked, his voice a low rumble near her ear. Damn you! Kara shouted, and in a blur of super speed, she was gone, leaving only the faint scent of ozone in her wake. Jason arrived first. Kara would later insist he cheated, loudly and repeatedly, because slicing through the castle walls technically counted as bypassing the rules of a race, while she had the decency to fly over them like a normal person. Jason, naturally, did not care. The stone walls of Byalia Castle split apart as if reality itself had been offended. Dust and debris rained down when Jason stepped through the opening, boots hitting marble with a calm finality. Kara landed seconds later in a red-blue blur, Zatanna touching down last, cloak settling as her eyes swept the room. Queen Bee froze on her throne. For a fraction of a second, her court instinctively moved, soldiers tightening their grips on weapons, power flaring. Don't! Queen Bee screamed. The shout cracked through the hall, sharp with terror. These are my guests. Her guards stopped instantly. She rose from her throne, posture stiff, fear thinly veiled beneath forced composure. Jason. Please. Welcome. Her eyes flicked to the throne, then back to him. She swallowed. Please, she said quickly, gesturing to the seat. Sit there. You are far more worthy of it than I am. She spun toward the soldiers. Leave us. Now. The hall emptied with disciplined haste. Jason studied her for a long moment, then shrugged, deciding to humor her. He walked forward and sat on the throne as if it had always belonged to him, crossing one leg over the other with infuriating ease. Kara and Zatanna followed his lead, each claiming an armrest, their presence flanking him like judgment made flesh. Queen Bee forced a smile. To what do I owe this visit, my dear Jason? Jason rested an elbow against the arm of the throne, expression unreadable. Well, he said casually, I thought I'd check in on my favorite tyrant in the region. How have you been? She stiffened immediately. Words spilled out of her, fast and desperate. I swear, progress has been exceptional. I've ended regional conflicts, expanded civil rights, stabilized the economy, lifted the ban on heroes in Byalia, and advocated for Pantheon to become a worldwide organization. Everything I've done. It's been to please you, my lord. Her voice trembled. Have I not done enough? Just tell me what you want next, and I'll do it. She dropped to her knees. Jason watched without reaction. He murmured. You've been doing well. But something still feels missing. He tilted his head slightly. What do you think, girls? Kara scratched her cheek, genuinely confused. I'm not sure. If she's done all that, what's left? Zatanna smirked. Maybe she hasn't been serving properly. You know. Worship him? Why don't you kiss his feet? Jason shot her a look. Then he felt something warm. He glanced down. Queen Bee had lunged forward, pressing her lips to his boot, hands clutching at his feet as if they were sacred relics. Whatever pleases you, my lord, she whispered fervently. I will fulfill it. Kara's eyes widened. Zatanna's smirk vanished. Jason stared for a heartbeat, then frowned. Looks like pride isn't part of the job description, Kara muttered. Anything for survival, huh? Queen Bee lifted her head, eyes shining with something far more unsettling than fear. Survival? No. She straightened, voice gaining an almost religious intensity. I am Queen Bee of the Corlands. I have searched history for a worthy mate, one to rule, one to serve. You, Jason, are perfect. Jason's expression darkened. I will give you anything, she continued breathlessly. Even my life. If you impregnate me, we leave an offspring, my life is yours. That was enough. Jason kicked her away without ceremony. She hit the floor hard, sliding back across the marble. Enough, he said coldly. No more games. He leaned forward, eyes burning. You know exactly why I'm here. Start talking. She scrambled upright, panic returning in full force. I swear, my lord, I don't know. Please, tell me. Kara stepped forward, voice sharp. Drop the act. We know about your communications with Savage. The army. The collection. All of it. Queen Bee's composure was shattered. No. No, she cried. I refused him. I swear. He gave me information, but I refused to help. Jason's smile was thin, almost polite. We know you refused, he said calmly. Relief flooded Queen Bee's face, her shoulders sagging for half a heartbeat. Then he continued. But you still didn't tell me. Now explain this to me. How does someone who claims she wants to be my loyal slave fail to mention something like that? The relief shattered instantly. Queen Bee froze, lips parting, eyes trembling. I was afraid, she whispered. Afraid you'd kill me if I brought him up. Jason rose from the throne. Well, he said evenly, now I'm going to kill you for not bringing it up. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Queen Bee remained silent for a moment, then bowed her head, voice barely audible. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I'll tell you everything. Jason exhaled slowly, as if restraining something far uglier beneath the surface. Then talk. What army was he referring to? And who is this friend? Her eyes widened slightly. She realized, too late, that Jason already knew far more than she wanted. He contacted me to prepare a landing zone, she said quickly. I refused. But I asked, out of fear. He called them the Manhunters. Said they were ancient machines. Hunters designed to police entire civilizations. Kara stiffened. Zatanna's expression hardened. And this friend? Jason asked. Despero, Queen Bee said, swallowing. A conqueror. A telepath. Savage said Despero located the Manhunters and planned to unleash them on Earth. Jason nodded once, as if filing the information away into something vast and patient. Manhunters. Despero. He murmured. That is special. He looked back at her. Elaborate. She shook her head desperately. I didn't ask more. I wanted no part of it. But if you allow me, I can contact him again. I'll get you everything. Jason's gaze sharpened. No, he said flatly. If you contact him now, he'll know you've turned. He stepped closer. Which arm did I cut last time? Queen Bee shivered. My right arm, my lord. Jason moved. There was no warning. A flash of cursed precision, invisible yet absolute. Her left arm hit the marble floor with a wet, hollow sound. Queen Bee screamed, collapsing as blood spread beneath her, clutching the empty space where her arm had been moments before. Jason didn't even look down at her. Next time, he said coldly, turning away, if you want to be a loyal slave, you contact me the moment you hear my enemies breathe. He paused at the threshold. Because the next time I come here, I take your head. With that, he walked out. The ruined castle stood silent as Jason returned to the ship, Kara and Zatanna following him wordlessly. The engines ignited, lifting them into the sky, leaving Byalia behind with its queen broken, bleeding, and very much alive, for now. The cabin hummed with bass-heavy music as Kara danced her way to Zatanna. Wow, kiss his feet? Really, Zatanna? Kara slurred, leaning far too comfortably against her, hiccuping mid-sentence. You're kinda sadistic, you know that? Zatanna pinched the bridge of her nose. First of all, your breath could peel paint. Second, I absolutely did not expect her to actually do it. Kara cackled, spinning away with the vodka bottle raised like a trophy, boots sliding across the deck as she danced to the beat. Woo! Byalia tripped success. Jason watched the chaos with tired amusement, arms crossed. I can't believe this is what you turn into when you drink. She designed the ship for it, Zatanna muttered. Red sun mode. So she can get drunk on purpose. That should have been our first warning. As if summoned by insult, Kara stumbled toward Jason's seat and grabbed his arm. Dance with me. I don't feel like it, he replied flatly. She gasped in mock offense, then promptly collapsed into his lap, looping her arms around his shoulders. Why not? Do I not turn you on, my lord Jason? She teased, dragging the words, eyes glittering with alcohol-fueled mischief. Jason sighed. Get off. Do you want me to kiss your feet? Kara laughed, stretching her legs out to shove her boots playfully towards Zatanna's face. Like Queen Bee? You. Zatanna snapped. Stop it. You're unbearable when you're drunk. Boo, Kara pouted, then turned back to Jason, palms pressing lightly against his chest. You're more fun. You've got a whole harem. Jason raised an eyebrow. And this is going, where, exactly? I'm just saying, Kara said, wagging a finger, words wobbling. Zatanna and I are single. Cute. Powerful. Now we're on missions with you. Kinda like how Harley and Diana started, right? She grinned. So what's the trick? How are you planning to get into our panties, huh? Zatanna stared at her. You are embarrassing. Okay, that's it, Jason didn't even blink. He reached up and shut off the red sun field. Kara blinked. Hey. Won't help immediately, Zatanna said dryly. It's already in her system. 10 minutes, give or take. Kara laughed triumphantly. 10 minutes. Clock's ticking, boss. She leaned in, aiming for his neck. Jason stood up smoothly, catching her shoulders and setting her aside before moving to another seat. You're an idiot. You're all boring. Kara shouted, flopping dramatically onto the couch. The music kept playing. The ship sailed on through the dark. Jason glanced at Zatanna, then at Kara sprawled across the cushions. Next mission, he said, we're confiscating the alcohol. Zatanna nodded. Yes, sir. So, what do we have? Jason asked, leaning forward as Diana slid a file across the table. Manhunters, Diana replied, her voice calm but edged with gravity. They're the original Green Lanterns, or more like the concept of a galaxy-wide police force. Zatanna added, it seems they were made by the same people who created the rings. Before they could continue, the mission room door creaked open, and Green Lantern John stepped inside, his presence commanding attention. Guardians of the Universe, John said, his tone heavy. And it seems that their old mistakes haunt them to this day. Old mistakes? Elaborate, Jason pressed. The Guardians have done a lot of good across the universe, but also a lot of harm. This is one of their darker decisions. Manhunters. Robots created with immense power and vision to safeguard the universe. Think of them as precursors to today's Green Lanterns. The difference? They were machines. John's words sank in, each one deliberate. Jason nodded slowly. And at some point, they lost control? Were stolen? What exactly happened for them to end up as an army under Despero and Savage? I'm getting there, John said, a tinge of solemnity in his voice. This is something I only learned through Hal. Hal had many contacts with the Manhunters, knew countless secrets of the Guardians, and this is one of them. He removed his Green Lantern ring, the emerald glow fading as he continued. By telling you this, I'm effectively quitting my position as a Green Lantern, and, as a here. I've thought about this for a while. But Hal's death confirmed my decision. I think I've done my part as a hero. Now I need to do my part as a father. Diana blinked, then spoke softly, John. Katma is. Congratulations. Don't beat yourself up about it, Jason said with a nod. You deserve this. Everyone knows your service to this planet. You deserve rest. John gave a small, appreciative nod before returning to the topic. Now, about the Manhunters and their secret. Their objective was simple: eliminate all evil under the motto, no man escapes the Manhunters. For the first few years, it worked. Perfectly, even. Until their programming evolved, and they drew a terrifying conclusion. Emotion itself breeds evil. To eliminate evil, you must eliminate emotion. And what has emotion? People? Jason answered cautiously. All sentient life. John's voice was quiet but cutting. So they started exterminating sentient beings across the universe, culminating in the largest massacre in galactic history, the massacre of Sector 666. Trillions perished. Only 5 survived, one of whom would later create the Red Lantern Corps, sworn enemies of the Green Lanterns. Jason's jaw tightened. I see, that's messed up. Diana added, her voice icy, trillions of people, how could they even hide something like that? The Guardians are masters of secrecy. They pursue peace and prosperity, but not always morally. John's gaze was steady. From what I've gathered, the Manhunter should have been destroyed. An AI named Aya handled most of them. But some weren't present during that event and were found by Despero. How he activated them, or if he even did, I don't know. Normally, only the Guardians could trigger them. Then again, the Anti-Monitor did manage it once, so clearly there's something we don't understand. Jason exhaled. I see. Then we prepare for an invasion of sorts. What about Despero? What do we know about him? Diana's lips curled in a faint scowl. He's a prick. Jason raised an eyebrow. Okay. I'm interested. What's he done? He mind-controlled some of us when we first fought him, Diana explained. We barely won thanks to Martian Manhunter's mental tricks. But with John dead, he seems to want a rematch. Last time, we barely survived. He's uncomfortably strong. Even Superman struggled. Facing a powerful warrior and mind control simultaneously is no small feat. Jason's expression hardened. I see. Well, I've got a plan for him. His army seems to be the real problem. Let's gather more intel where they could strike, where they are now. Everyone nodded, diving into preparations as John watched, a bittersweet smile on his face. For him, this was the end of an era. His days as a hero were done, but a new chapter as a father awaited. John turned, walking toward the door, the faint glow of his ring extinguished, leaving only the memory of a hero behind. Now, this is quite interesting. So you modeled them after the Manhunters? Savage spoke calmly, one hand resting behind his back as he followed Despero through the vast chamber. Thousands of figures stood in rigid silence around them. Manhunters. Endless ranks stretching into the distance, metal bodies reflecting the cold lights above like a sea of dormant executioners. Kinda, Despero replied, his single eye glinting as he gestured toward the army. We found the original Manhunters. Of course, whatever happened to them, that virus destroyed them. But, their bodies, weaponry, and build remained. And oh, they were powerful. Savage's gaze lingered, analytical, calculating. And so, Despero continued, his voice thick with satisfaction, I managed to do something special with all those humans you were sending me over the years. And what is that? Savage asked, already suspecting the answer. I removed their brains, completely changing them and remodeling them to fit into the Manhunters. Then I mind-controlled them. That is how we have this army. Despero's grin widened into something feral. A completely obedient, perfect army. It will never betray me because it does not have programming. It is a slave. A sentient slave. The air itself felt heavier. Savage chuckled softly, a rare smile touching his lips. Well, looks like your revenge on the League won't wait long then. Despero stopped walking. He turned and placed a massive hand on Savage's shoulder, his grip firm, possessive. All because of you, friend, Despero said. Had you not located the original Manhunters, helped heal me, and granted me those humans, I would not have returned so quickly. Thank you. Savage met his gaze without flinching and smiled, nodding once. Of course. We have shared aspirations. So, you have arrived, Jason said, his gaze fixed on Superman standing before him. Yes. I have. Superman replied, voice steady but eyes shadowed by the memories of the Joker incident. How have you been? Jason asked. Clark shook his head, clearing his thoughts. I am fine. He placed the key to the war world carefully on the table. Here. Jason's eyes narrowed. You heard? Yes. Manhunters and the invasion by Despero. So you can have it back. You will need it to protect the world. Clark's voice was calm but firm. I see. Don't worry, I'll give it back as soon as we deal with them, Jason said. No. Don't. You can keep it. You've earned the right to hold it. I trust you now, more than I trust my own self. Clark turned, leaving the room with measured steps. Jason watched him go, letting out a quiet sigh. Looks like I've earned my place, eh? Well, then, let's go visit our friends. Shall we? So, was I really bad? Did I do something stupid? Is that why you're not allowing me to install it here? Kara's words tumbled out as she tried to urge Jason to set up the red sun panels on the war world. No means no. I don't need a drunk Kryptonian around, Jason said firmly, placing the key where it belonged and activating the war world. Zatanna walked in after, glancing around. We've transferred all the important stuff in here. I think we're pretty good now, right? Yup. Let's go to the command room, Jason said, turning to leave. Hey. Don't ignore me. Please. Please. I need it. Kara pleaded, her voice high and frantic. Ugh, still about this? Kara, you harassed him last time. Get over it. Drinking isn't for you. Zatanna said, rolling her eyes. I did what? No, no. I would never. Kara shouted, flustered. Jason ignored the exchange as he walked all the way to the command room. Inside, the core members of the Pantheon were waiting. Raven, Harley, Wonder Woman, Livewire, and now Kara and Zatanna. So why did you call us here, Daddy? Harley asked, leaning into Jason. He ignored her, striding to the throne in the center of the room, designed to control the war world. And finally spoke. We're going to take a trip, a devastating one, Jason said, his voice calm but commanding. Oh? Where to? Diana asked, curiosity lacing her tone. We're going to the null zone near Sector 568. Jason smirked as he began guiding the war world. The null zone? Isn't that where, well, shit dies? Ends? It's like empty space around the sectors, right? Why are we going there? Kara asked, the only one familiar with systems and sectors. Jason grinned. Let's just say a little birdie has given me special information on where Despero and his army are, and that was the location. Do we trust this birdie? Diana asked cautiously. Oh yes, we do. After all, this birdie has something to gain from it, and he absolutely hates Manhunters and the Guardians, Jason said, the war world slowly starting to move. He leaned back slightly, preparing to explain more, his smirk betraying the thrill of the hunt. This is special. I didn't expect you to contact me about something like this. Desad said, lips curling into a thin smile. So what do you say? Good information doesn't come cheap, you know, the man behind the screen replied calmly. Of course, Desad nodded. We'll help with that petty war of yours after we deal with Earth and Jason. Darkseid doesn't forget his friends. All you have to do is bend the knee, and things will go your way. Good, the man said. I'll guide Jason toward that location. He'll obviously clash with Despero. We'll hope he dies, but I doubt it. And then, we strike. Is that good? Of course, Desad answered smoothly. We'll send someone of our own to assist you. Not out of disrespect, of course. Sinestro. But the Yellow Lanterns aren't what they used to be, so we'll need to add an element of our own. We have a special idea. Desad's smile widened. Good luck. The communication device went dark. Sinestro stared at the black screen for a moment before smirking. Good. Things are going our way. We'll trick them, earn their trust, and afterward, we reclaim our power. The Yellow Lanterns will return. And both that Jason and Darkseid will know who we are. He turned and walked out. Meanwhile, Jason's war world finally approached Sector 568 when his communicator rang. Jason Anderson. You seem to have arrived, just as we agreed, Sinestro's voice echoed. I gave you the information about Despero and the Manhunters. They're hiding on Wrangle. Thrown out of orbit by its own sun, now drifting within the null zone. I wish you'd arrived with less flashiness, but I suppose you'll need the war world to defeat Despero. Just so you know, he knows you're here. Jason smiled. I don't mind. I like a challenge. What about you? You want to join me? Sinestro shook his head. Our agreement was clear. I give you the location, and in exchange, you expose the truth of the Manhunters to the entire world and declare them traitors to peace. Simple. I will not help you fight. Hey, I never said I needed your help, Jason replied casually. I just wanted to offer you a piece of the fight. Anyway, piss off, Sinestro. I've got a planet to destroy. And yes, I'll honor our agreement. He cut the transmission. Almost immediately, Jason activated another channel. So, you heard that, Jason said. Manhunters are there. And I'm assuming Sinestro will be there too. All that's left is you and your army. How about it? Let's have some fun. Sinestro thinks he can double-cross me. But I knew that bastard wouldn't give me info for free. The man on the other side of the screen stayed silent for a moment before snapping. What do you gain from this? Why help us when no one ever did? Don't think we can be pushed over. Nah, Jason replied calmly. Here's the thing. I'm confident I can deal with Despero, the Manhunters, Sinestro, and whatever trick he's hiding on my own. I called you because it'd be fun. And because I want to see you get your vengeance. In exchange, you help me later. In a little war, against Darkseid. Darkseid, the man growled. We hate Darkseid, too. Fine. We help you. Jason smiled and ended the call. Looks like the pieces are connecting perfectly, he muttered, leaning back against his throne. Beside him, Kara spoke quietly. I'm not sure you qualify as a hero. This plan. It's screwed up. Jason reached out, grabbing her and pulling her onto his lap. His fingers caught her chin, forcing her to look at him. Isn't that exhilarating, though? He asked softly. The chaos. The betrayals. Isn't that what this is all about? We get rid of all our enemies, and keep Earth safe. Kara glared at him, anger flashing in her eyes. She didn't pull away. It's not heroic. His hand slid to her neck, fingers tightening just enough to make her breath hitch. A king and a hero are two different ideals, Jason said, leaning close. You can be a hero for the world, Kara. But I want to be its king. And kings, sometimes have to play dirty. He kissed her without warning. She froze for a split second, shock flashing across her face, before melting into it, a quiet moan slipping from her lips. When he pulled away, he stepped back, smiling. A king, Jason said calmly, takes what he wants. By any means necessary. As the war world loomed closer to Wrangel, its sheer size became impossible to ignore. The war world itself was as vast as Earth's moon, a floating engine of annihilation. Yet Wrangel dwarfed it completely, nearly 10 times larger than Earth. It did not matter. Wrangel was a dead planet. No atmosphere capable of sustaining life, no ecosystems, no cities. Nothing but silence and ruin. All life on its surface was impossible, save for a single section where Despero operated, where the Manhunters were being worked on, assembled, and prepared. That lone scar on the planet's surface was already locked in the war world's targeting systems. Jason had no intention of wasting time. Before the war world could fire, the planet itself seemed to awaken. Thousands of Manhunters rose from Wrangel's surface, pouring into space like a metallic tide. They moved with perfect coordination, forming a massive wall around the planet, layer upon layer of identical figures. Their eyes ignited in unison as their voices echoed through space, synchronized and absolute. No man escapes the Manhunters. Jason watched them without flinching. Okay, he said calmly. Looks like we found our targets. Now then. He was about to order a full assault when his communications console chimed. Oh? Jason raised an eyebrow. It seems we have a communication request from Wrangel. Sure. Let's see what they want. The screen shifted. Despero's face filled the display, his massive features twisted into a grin that radiated confidence and contempt. Jason Anderson, Despero said. This is the first time you and I have spoken, isn't it? Lovely. Truly lovely. Now. I must admit, I didn't expect you to come here yourself. A surprise attack, HM? I suppose I would have done the same. His grin widened. But it matters little to me. Whether your grave is here or on Earth, the result is the same. Jason rolled his eyes. Is that what you called for? He asked flatly. A weak-ass villain monologue? Despero laughed. Oh no, no. I merely wanted to get to know you. We'll be fighting to the death soon, after all. I thought it only polite to learn about my victim beforehand. Jason nodded once. Unlike you, I don't bother learning the history of people who'll be dead in a few minutes. Goodbye. He reached to cut the transmission. Don't you want to know? Despero suddenly said. Jason paused. Know what? How I revived the manhunters? Despero asked. You already know they were destroyed by a virus long ago, yes? And yet, I managed something special. I brought them back. Jason scoffed. Spare me your bullshit. What does that have to do with anything? I'm going to destroy them all regardless. Despero's smile sharpened. Would you? He asked softly. Would you still destroy them if I told you that inside each manhunter, there is a human consciousness? You see, I collected the minds of many people and installed them within their cores. Their thoughts. Their fears. Their memories. Would you really kill your own? He never finished the sentence. Explosions lit up space as the war world opened fire. Hundreds of missiles screamed forward, detonating among the manhunters in rapid succession. Metal bodies were torn apart, limbs and torsos scattering into the void. Some manhunters dodged, weaving through the fire, but many were obliterated instantly. Despero roared through the communicator. Are you mad? Those are human minds in there. Your own people. And may they rest in peace, Jason replied coldly. You monster. Despero shouted. Have you no care for your people? Jason's gaze never left the battlefield as the bombardment continued. I do care about my people, he said calmly. That's exactly why I'm doing this. I care about the majority back home, more than these. Damn it, he's a maniac. Despero roared, slamming his fist into the command table hard enough to crack it. I'm going to murder him, that's for sure. I'll make him kill all his friends before I make him kill himself. His third eye burned with fury as he straightened. All manhunters, Despero barked. Fall back. Retreat immediately. Vandal Savage turned toward him, one eyebrow lifting. You are retreating? Despero snarled. The section we're operating from is protected by a defensive shield. Not even the war world can break it. The Guardians built it to repel foreign planetary assaults. He might cut his way inside as I did, but destroying it completely is impossible. Savage's lips curled slightly. I see. You're inviting him in. Yes, Despero said, eyes blazing. If he's smart, he retreats. If he's reckless, he forces his way inside. And once he does, this place becomes his grave. Hundreds of dormant manhunters, me, you, and the witch boy. He won't walk out. He turned toward Savage. That was when Clarion struck. A spell detonated point-blank, hurling Despero across the chamber and smashing him into the far wall. He crashed to the floor in a snarl, armor screeching against stone. As he forced himself upright, he saw Vandal Savage calmly gathering the scattered notes and data slates from the table. Despero's voice thundered. What is the meaning of this, Savage? Savage didn't look at him. Don't take it personally, my friend. I truly wish you success against Jason Anderson. However, Clarion and I will not be involved in this battle. Clarion giggled, floating upside down nearby. Sure. It's fine, Despero. You'll survive if you try hard enough. All we really need are these little files. Despero's rage exploded. You dare betray me? His psychic force lashed out, invisible pressure crushing toward them. Clarion's magic flared instantly, a barrier snapping into place and dispersing the attack like smoke. "Nice try," Clarion said cheerfully. Savage activated the father box in his hand. "So long, friend. And good luck." A pulse of alien light engulfed him and Clarion, and they vanished just as Despero lunged forward, smashing into empty space and collapsing to one knee. "How dare he!" Despero screamed, slamming his fists into the walls again and again. "Savage! Savage! I'm going to kill you!" The chamber trembled under his fury. Inside the war world, Jason rose from his seat and stretched as if preparing for a casual workout. "Harley," he said calmly. "You may take over the ship, love. If anyone tries to escape the sector, burn them. And if our friends show up, ignore them, okay?" Harley practically bounced into the command chair. "Yes, honey. I'll incinerate anyone who looks funny." Zatanna winced. "Are we really sure giving Harley control of the war world is a good idea?" Jason nodded without hesitation. "Don't worry. She's got it." He turned toward the launch bay. "Now let's start stage 2 of the plan." Moments later, Jason, Diana, Kara, Livewire, Zatanna, and Raven dropped from the war world in a blazing descent, tearing through space toward Wrangel. Straight toward Despero. With a single, merciless slash, Jason carved through the dome shielding Despero's army. The barrier split apart like fragile glass, cursed energy screaming as it collapsed inward. Jason didn't slow down. He stepped through the breach without hesitation, the others pouring in behind him. There was no need for caution. No need for restraint. Despero was waiting, and Jason intended to answer him with overwhelming force. From within the command spire, Despero watched the dome shatter. His lips twisted in fury as alarms wailed. "All manhunters," he roared. "Kill them all." Thousands of manhunters surged forward at once. Jason grinned. He became a blur of motion, slashing through metal bodies like paper, cursed energy tearing arcs through the battlefield. Manhunters fell in pieces before they could even adjust their targeting systems. In seconds, Jason was already there, standing face to face with Despero. Despero barely managed to raise his guard. He hadn't expected Jason to be that fast. Too late. Jason's kick slammed into his chest, the impact launching Despero backward like a meteor. He crashed through reinforced walls and was hurled deep into the massive structure where the manhunters were manufactured, rubble collapsing around him. Jason turned his head slightly. "Hold them back for a bit," he said calmly to his team. "I'll deal with him quickly." Then he leapt into the hole he had just created. Inside the ruined facility, Despero rose from the debris, brushing dust and broken metal from his armor. "You know," Despero said, his voice low and disdainful, "everyone in space fears you. But I don't see it. You're strong, yes. But is that all?" Jason raised an eyebrow. "Confident, are we?" "Of course," Despero replied, stepping forward. "Killing you won't be difficult. I've fought beings far stronger than you. And I'm still standing, aren't I?" His third eye snapped open, glowing with terrifying intensity. "Watch closely," Despero continued. "I'll win this battle without ever truly fighting you. A battle lost in the mind is already lost in reality." His psychic power surged. Despero forced his way into Jason's mind. Immediately, something felt wrong. Most minds had a single path, a clear structure he could dominate and overwrite. Jason's mind had two. Despero turned left first. A massive red eye stared back at him from the darkness. Devilish. Ancient. Its slit pupil narrowed as if daring him to take another step. For the first time, Despero hesitated. He turned away. The other path was lined with shrines and countless skulls, stacked and arranged like offerings. The air itself felt heavy, oppressive. Despero pressed on until he reached the core of the mind. And froze. A man sat on a throne. He looked like Jason, yet utterly different. For arms rested lazily at his sides. For eyes regarded Despero with bored amusement. Power radiated from him so densely that it crushed thought itself. You chose this path because you feared the other, the figure said, standing slowly. How foolish. The pressure intensified. Kneel. Despero's legs buckled. How can you control your mind so easily? Something tore through the space beside him. Pain exploded as the fins on his head were sliced halfway through. Despero dropped fully to his knees, shaking. Don't speak, the figure said coldly, unless I give you permission. Despero's eyes widened in terror. Now then, the figure continued, tilting his head. We can't have people thinking it's acceptable to enter Sukuna's mind. But killing you outright. He clicked his tongue. Helping that brat is disgusting. Sukuna smiled. We'll do this instead. I'll take your eye as payment. And your army as well. Despero tried to protest. Great master, I didn't, The world shattered. He was violently expelled from Jason's mind, consciousness snapping back into his body. Despero staggered, screaming, blood pouring freely from his third eye, now mangled and ruined. What are you? He gasped. What was that? Who was he? Jason sighed. You tried to invade my mind, he said flatly. Foolish. That was Sukuna's work, I suppose. He stepped forward, placing a palm against Despero's chest. Let's not make you suffer any longer, Jason said quietly. Die. Cleave. Despero's body split cleanly in two. As he collapsed, his eyes locked onto Jason in disbelief. The Manhunters, that man, inside you, he. His voice faded. Despero was dead. As Jason turned to return to the battlefield, the wall above him exploded inward. Kara crashed down like a meteor, pulverizing the floor beneath her. She rolled once, twice, then forced herself upright, breathing hard, sweat streaking her face. Jason glanced at her, unimpressed. Wow. I didn't expect the Manhunters to do that much damage to you, he said lightly. Kara snapped her head up, fury blazing in her eyes. It's not the Manhunters, she shouted. It's Sinestro. And some bitches he brought with him. He betrayed us. She didn't wait for a response, launching herself back into the sky. Jason's eyebrow rose. I see, well, let's take a look. He leapt out after her. The moment he emerged, the battlefield revealed itself in full. An army of yellow lanterns, nearly 200 strong, hovered in formation, their constructs crackling with fear-fueled light. At their center floated Sinestro himself, arms crossed, expression calm and confident. Beside him drifted an old woman, hunched yet radiating authority and cruelty. Flanking her were 3 young women, each exuding monstrous power. Sinestro smiled when he saw Jason. Ah. Jason Anderson, he said smoothly. While I did appreciate our agreement, it seems someone made me a better offer. I apologize, but you must die. The old woman stepped forward, her eyes cold and merciless. So you are Jason Anderson. I have heard much about you. My lord considers you a problem. Her lips curled. I will kill you here. Jason chuckled. I recognize you from that show on TV, about orphans and all. Granny Goodness, right? Funny name. I don't see any goodness in those eyes. Granny laughed loudly. Before she could respond, one of the younger women surged forward eagerly. I like him, Granny. I'm taking this one, she declared. You there, human. You face me. I am Grail, daughter of Darkside. Another stepped out, her grin sharp and unhinged. Green hair framed yellow skin as she pointed a finger toward Raven. Well then. I'll slice that one over there. The last of the 3, massive and towering, stomped the ground. If Mad Harriet gets to choose, Stompa chooses too, she said proudly. Stampa will fight the woman there. She pointed directly at Diana. Jason exhaled slowly. Yellow lanterns, granny goodness, the female furies. And now the manhunters, turning their glowing eyes toward him. They spoke as one, their voices metallic and distorted. For Sukuna, kill Jason. For Sukuna, kill Jason. Jason clenched his jaw. You really had to do this? He asked silently. So you can learn your place, Sukuna replied lazily. Jason snorted. Still salty I used Yuji's domain? The same one that killed the so-called king of curses? Sukuna didn't answer. Jason sighed and turned his head slightly toward Raven. Prepare it, he said. We're going to need it. Diana tightened her grip on her weapon. This is problematic, she admitted. This will be one hell of a fight. Jason smiled, sharp and confident. Don't worry. Our friends are here. As if summoned by his words, the battlefield split open. A wave of crimson light flooded the area as a massive army surged forward, their rings burning with rage. At their head stood Atrocitus, towering and furious. He glared straight at Jason. You! Atrocitus roared. What is this? You promised me vengeance. Why are yellow bastards and Darkseid's dogs here? Sinestro reacted instantly. Atrocitus. What are you doing here? This is not your fight. Atrocitus snarled. Foolish one. All fights are Atrocitus's fights. Jason stepped forward, voice calm yet cutting. Atrocitus. Welcome. You wanted revenge, didn't you? He gestured toward the manhunters. There they are. Creations of the Guardians. The ones who slaughtered your sector. His smile widened. And as a bonus, you've got Sinestro here. Former Green Lantern. Current Yellow Lantern. Trying to control them and steal the manhunters away from you. Jason tilted his head. You going to allow that? Atrocitus's rage exploded. Sinestro, he bellowed. You dare? He raised his fist. Red Lantern Corps. Kill them all. The Red Lanterns charged. Sinestro didn't even have time to argue. Chaos erupted as red and yellow light collided, rage crashing into fear, the battlefield dissolving into pure war. Jason watched it all, satisfaction curling in his chest. Well then, he said softly, eyes gleaming. Let the war begin. Grail struck first. She descended like a comet, heel aimed straight for Jason's skull, power screaming through the air. The impact everyone expected never came. Steel met divinity. Diana's sword intercepted the blow, the clash ringing across the battlefield like a bell of war. Sparks and divine energy burst outward as Diana stood firm, feet planted, eyes cold. I have been silent, observing you all, Diana said calmly. You have quite the arrogance, declaring who you will fight. Grail snarled, rage twisting her face. You bitch. Get out of my way. I want to fight the strong one. Diana did not argue. She shoved Grail back with her blade, then, in the same motion, hurled her lasso. The golden rope wrapped around Grail's torso and limbs, yanking her violently out of the air and slamming her into the ground hard enough to crater it. You are fighting the strong one, Diana said as she advanced. And if you cannot fight me properly, do not even think about him. Mad Harriet moved next. She rushed Raven with a shrill laugh, blades raised, but never reached her target. The ground beneath her erupted. Dark tendrils burst upward, wrapping around her legs, waist, and arms, halting her mid-charge. Raven hovered slightly above the ground, eyes glowing faintly. I heard you wanted to slice me, Raven said evenly. Let's see it. The shadows shifted, reshaping themselves into twin scythes held firmly in Raven's grasp. Stampa chose differently. She landed heavily in front of Jason, the ground cracking under her weight. Stampa wanted a strong woman, she said. Stampa will settle for a strong man. She charged. She never reached him. Jason moved once. There was no flourish, no wasted motion. A single clean cut flashed through the air. Stampa's head slid from her shoulders and hit the ground with a dull thud. Her body kept running for several steps, unaware it was already dead, before collapsing forward. Jason didn't even look back. Stampa! Grail screamed, shock tearing through her voice. She barely had time to breathe before Diana's fist smashed into her jaw. Focus, Diana said sharply. She grabbed Grail by the hair and slammed her forehead into her own. I'll give you a real fight, Diana continued. Better than he ever would. Because he would have killed you the moment you thought about attacking him. Above them, the air thundered. Supergirl and Granny Goodness collided fist to fist, shockwaves rippling outward. Granny noticed Stampa's lifeless body below and scoffed. Pathetic failure. Kara dodged a crushing punch, rolling through the air. Wow. No sense of camaraderie, huh? Comrades? Granny sneered. Do not fool yourself. We are Furies. Swords of Darkseid. Death is our only future. Service is our only present. She caught Kara's punch mid-swing and drove her straight into the ground. You are weak for a Kryptonian. Kara groaned but forced herself back up, narrowly dodging a follow-up kick. Yeah, Kara said between breaths. I've been hearing that a lot lately. She smirked. But I learned a trick. Granny narrowed her eyes. Whatever you can do, I do better. Kara glanced toward Jason and suddenly flew off at full speed. Give me a second, Kara called back. Running away? Granny scoffed, launching after her. Foolish. Kara strode up to Jason. Grope me, she demanded, the words clipped and direct. Jason raised an eyebrow, a slow, amused smile spreading across his face. He leaned in slightly, his voice dropping to a playful murmur. Not so sure this is an appropriate place for, well, these kinds of activities. Not that I'm not flattered. Oh, shut up and do it, she shouted, her patience snapping. I can't get the cursed energy out without this. His smile sharpened into something more predatory. As you wish. In a blur of motion almost too fast to track, he was behind her. Kara's breath hitched in genuine shock, not just at his speed, but at the sudden, invasive contact. His hands were on her instantly, with no preamble. One palm cupped the full weight of her breast through her clothes, his fingers finding and pinching the stiffening peak of her nipple with deliberate pressure. The other hand slid between her legs, palm pressing firmly against the heat of her clothed coochie, his fingers digging in with an intimate, relentless certainty. Ag. Damn it, she gasped, the sensation a violent cocktail of shock, violation, and an unwelcome, traitorous jolt of raw stimulation. Her protest died as her eyes locked on a new arrival across the clearing. Granny stood there, frozen, her usual placid expression shattered into wide-eyed disbelief. Stop. Enough. Kara shouted, her body tensing. Jason didn't stop. If anything, he intensified. The pinch on her nipple became a twisting pull, and the hand between her thighs pressed harder, fingers curling with insistent pressure, seeking deeper friction even through the fabric. He was a catalyst, forcing a reaction through sheer, shameless provocation. I said stop. The command tore from her throat, and the dam inside her broke. A torrent of violent, violet-black cursed energy exploded outward from her body in a concussive wave, shredding the air with a soundless scream of power. Jason had already disengaged, his form a shadow leaping backwards to a safe distance as the shockwave passed over where he'd stood. He landed lightly, watching the swirling maelstrom of energy that now surrounded Kara with a satisfied glint in his eye. Go get her, girl, he said, his voice a low, encouraging whisper lost in the crackling storm. Kara's unleashed cursed energy crackled against the dying light as she turned to face Granny. The air itself seemed to vibrate with her power. Jason, having just cleaved another advancing manhunter in two with a casual backhand swipe, settled onto the floor of the ruined plaza, finding a piece of rubble as his impromptu seat. He leaned back, a spectator to the unfolding chaos. A whisper of displaced air, and Zatanna alighted beside him, her boots touching down without a sound. Her gaze was fixed on the distant, furious clash between Kara and the old monster. "Oh. You're here," she said, her voice flat. "Raven's portal is ready. I finished the final incantations for her." She jerked her chin toward the epicenter of the battle, where Raven was trading blows. "As you can clearly see, she is a bit distracted." Zatanna finally looked down at him, her expression a mask of pure annoyance. "I can't believe you're just sitting here watching." "Ugh." Jason's lips curled into a grin. "Why? You jealous?" Another manhunter, seeing a momentary opening, lunged for Zatanna from behind. Jason didn't even turn his head. A flicker of shadow, a wet thwip, and the creature's body split diagonally from shoulder to hip, the two halves sliding apart before they could reach her. Tisk. Zatanna didn't flinch. "Why would I be jealous of the monster you are?" She then watched everyone fighting, the manhunters and yellow lanterns clashing with the red lanterns, the clash between the girls and the Furies, as she then spoke. "This plan. It's screwed up." Jason's smile widened, a predatory flash of white. "Yeah. But none of you argued against it in the end. You know why?" Zatanna raised a perfectly arched eyebrow. "Enlighten me." His answer was not in words, but in motion. In one fluid, dominant movement, his arm shot out. He grabbed her, his grip unyielding, and pulled her off her feet, forcing her down onto his lap. She landed with a soft gasp, his other arm instantly wrapping around her waist, pinning her against him. Before she could muster a protest, his lips were on her neck, not gentle, but possessive. His voice was a hot whisper against her skin. "Because deep down, you're all as twisted as I am. And you all think this is a perfectly good plan." She stiffened, a token resistance flaring in her muscles, an instinctive rejection of being manhandled. But it was brief. A shudder ran through her, and then she yielded, her body softening against his. She tilted her head, offering more of her neck to his seeking mouth. "Yeah." She breathed out, the word half a sigh. "Is that why you picked us? Are we the most messed up people in the old league?" Jason continued his trail of kisses along the delicate column of her throat, each one a brand of ownership. He paused, his lips hovering over her pulse point. "Yes. That," he murmured, "and because you're all so devastatingly beautiful." He pulled back just enough to meet her gaze, his own dark and intense. "But you understand, right? Why I do this? Why it has to be this way?" "I do." The admission seemed to unlock something in her. The last of her defiance bled away, replaced by a raw, weary honesty. "I stood against it for too long. But you were always right. Since day one. I acted stubborn." She turned in his lap, her hands coming up to rest against his chest, her magical gaze searching his. "Damn this. I can't believe it." "What?" Jason asked, though his knowing smirk said he already knew. "Piss off. You know what it is," she spat, but there was no real heat in it, only a furious, self-directed frustration. "I'm just like Kara. And Diana. And Harley. To hell with this. Shit. I hate you." His hands tightened on her hips, a silent command. "Speak the truth." A battle flickered in her eyes, and she lost. The words tore from her, laced with anger and surrender. "I freaking love you, all right? I wanna be in this stupid harem of yours." There. The magician girl likes the big, bad, evil man who harassed her. The victory in Jason's smile was absolute, dark, and satisfied. "I knew you'd come around." In the same motion he'd used to pull her down, he now stood up, effortlessly lifting her with him before setting her on her feet. The moment of intimate confession was over, sealed and filed away. The business of annihilation remained. "Welp," he said, cracking his neck, his eyes already scanning the battlefield with renewed, chilling focus. "Time to end it all, right?" Zatanna straightened her coat, her own expression hardening, aligning with his purpose. The last traces of internal conflict were gone, burned away in the heat of her admission. A cold, determined smile touched her lips. "Yeah," she said, her voice now clear and steady. "Let's kill them all."
And that concludes this episode. If you enjoyed it, I'd seriously love it if you guys could leave a like on the video, as it genuinely helps out so much, and it keeps me going, plus it takes only 1 second. That said, have a wonderful day. See you in the next one.